What up? What up?
What's up?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going so great.
How was your Monday?
Sucked major poop things. My mom's awake. I can't really swear. Yeah, it sucked.
Why did it suck?
Um, work was crazy, and it's just Monday, so that just means it's gonna get even worse as the week progresses. I mean that was mainly it. Like after work, I got home and I worked out for a little bit, and then had my sister made dinner, so I could work out, and then eat, and then I got to draw a little bit in the a little bit of absolute. Kind of, I think I got another panel finished. I'm not sure, but it's only like an hour and a half. I listened to the uh, EVS Dan Shaheen stream and worked on a panel.
How'd that go?
That went all right. I haven't touched the page in a while, so it felt nice to actually work.
I
But the
meant the
stream.
EVS stream.
Right. Well, I was getting to that, but no, I was getting to that. The stream was like very political. Like Dan Shaheen kept wanting to talk like political standings or something, and like you could tell like Ethan was like, I guess like he was like, I don't really care. I mean, he talked about it because he was being asked, but he even said he's like I just want to talk comics.
Why not just talk about his art and what he's doing in
Well,
Comicsgate?
like he kind of brushed over, like he's like he wanted, like he got into why he asked why he got fired or let go from or fired from DC. He brushed it on that. They talked about Cyberfrog for like the first 6 minutes, and then it was like a lot of political crap that Dan Shaheen was talking about, and it was just like you could tell Ethan was just like, well, I don't. You could tell he was just bored of that. But I would rather would have had him talk about what EVS is doing in CG, like his, because he's kind of he's doing like a book a year, but he's kind of more going into publishing and
Right.
promotion. So that's fascinating that he's now kind of changing course in a way. Like he's not totally changing course, but he's taking on a new. That's pretty exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah. So you would think he would want to talk about that, but it was all just it was political. It was garbage. It was boring almost. It wasn't as bad as the other one because the other one was just him trying to get a gotcha moment. This one was just boring.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
How about you?
I got some weird topics for us tonight. Some fun
Mm,
topics.
we do weird here well, Lola.
You ever been to like a city that or a town that has like a weird name?
Uh, I like I like city or towns that have weird names, like like Chattanooga, stuff like that's weird. It's kind of funky.
What about Chicken Feather? Apparently there was a Chicken Feather, Texas.
Chicken Feather, Texas, huh? Is
Yeah.
this still around?
I Let's read and find out.
Hmm.
Oh, it says it no longer exists, but former
Oh,
residents still gather each year to remember this strangely named community.
like do they have a festival? We were talking festivals earlier. Do they have a chicken feather festival?
I don't know, but why does like Texas have all these weird named places like Kermit and Danby and Cut and Shoot?
Okay, Kermit, I get. Who wouldn't want to live in Kermit? But
Um,
you know what I'm talking about.
where's the Frog G when we need him?
Exactly. Where's the Frog G? I mean, you have a Matt Barr in the chat, but you don't have Frog G, which is still we love Matt Barr. So.
Oh, Matt
But
Barr's in my chat.
yeah, um,
Yeah, Matt.
and you have Edwin. Everyone go back to the Ace
You got the link, Matt.
and Jim Cox, of course. Um, No, I think there's a Hell, Michigan or Hell, Ohio. I can't remember which one it is.
Kalamazoo.
Well, there's not a Kalamazoo, Ohio.
There's a Kalamazoo in Michigan.
Yeah. But there's like an actual like Hell, like it's called Hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind
I
of
forget.
funny
But
in a way. A
like,
chicken feather?
yeah, Chicken Feather.
I live in chicken feather. Yeah, Texas is
Feather,
weird.
Texas. It says there's nothing out there now but fields and a cemetery.
Oh, jeez.
But around 1910, some young men in the neighborhood were out coon hunting at night.
Mm.
And after
I
hunting for
bet.
hours, those boys came up empty. Starving, they did something devious. They were hungry. It was getting late at night, so they stole some farmers' chickens. They didn't steal them from any farmer. Their farmer was also the preacher.
Oh, jeez. You sinners.
So it's as if it was a pastor, then they committed a sin.
Yeah, they committed a sin either way. That's theft, but that's extra sinning.
The boys killed the chickens, skinned them, and ate them. And to hide
Mm.
the evidence of their sinful stealing, they tossed the chicken feathers and everything into the well. Well, apparently it was the same well the school children and families got their water.
Well, duh. What? What did they expect? It's so stupid. Wait, is that a poop well?
But it was around until the 80s. So, I mean,
It thrived pretty well, I guess.
but chicken feather, I was just like, I saw this and it like cracked me up. I was like, oh my God, I gotta
Chicken
tell
feather.
Jason about this. He's gonna crack up when he
Yeah,
hears
that's hilarious. I want to live in chicken feather.
chicken feather.
I gotta live in chicken feather.
And look, this is like Granny's Neck shelter area.
Granny's neck shelter area.
The stupid video keeps playing. Like every time I turn around.
Turn around. Every now and then I
So, yeah.
get it. Oh.
So you want to go to Chicken Feather, huh?
I want to live in. I wish they need to build it back up again. Let's boom it. We're gonna make chicken feather booming.
Chicken Feather boom.
Yeah, we're gonna have a chicken feather boom. Yeah, we're gonna.
That would be
Texas.
hilarious.
It's Texas. Texas is weird.
Texas is weird.
Yeah, it's like its own little world.
And it's weird that it's gotten like more liberal minded in the last few years.
Okay, I honestly am politically retarded. What is a liberal?
Far left or left
That doesn't help me. Like, which president do they like?
Which president do they like?
Yeah.
Biden.
Okay, all right. There you go. All right, thank you.
Is that what you needed?
Yeah, that's kind of what I needed. Like, my friend talks to me all the time about politics. Well, not all the time, but he will. He'll be like, he's like, they're so conservative. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Yeah, I hear it all the time, and people tell me what it is all the time. I forget instantly because I don't care, so I just forget.
I don't talk politics with people
Right.
just because they're so different. And like I grew up in a area that like at a time when you didn't talk politics or religion with people.
Right.
So it's like
Whoa, yeah, it's taboo.
it's like it's
Well,
just weird.
But also, I'm just so set in my mind of Democrat, Republican that to me that's it. Like now there's like various degrees of each one that they're alt and control alt and delete, and I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. Control Z backspace.
You mean like there is in genders and sexuality and
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Like I get confused sometimes.
we gotta have options.
Yeah, options are good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a simple man, Lola. I require simple things.
But can't you have too many options?
Exactly my point. Democrat, Republican, help a brother out. Okay, that's good enough.
I mean, don't you start getting into an area where you're just like,
yeah, I don't want my politics or sexual preferences to be like a salad bar. Okay, it's overwhelming. Sushi bar. I'm good to go.
Sushi bar.
I know what I want. There it is.
Before we get into my next one, I want to say hi to my chat.
There's a chat.
I've not been very good at this. Like,
well, I mean, you get caught up in the moment, and it's late, and you're usually under the influences.
What? I am not.
I'm sorry. I'm usually under the influences. That speedball and that heroin and cocaine, it really gets me sometimes.
Just for everyone, he's joking. He's never done anything like that.
I don't have a sense of humor.
Disavow.
Mm-hmm. Hail the chat.
But we have Pell Rider.
Yo, what
Pell
up,
Rider?
Pell Rider. He's a great artist.
Huh?
He's a great artist.
He is a great artist. Oh my god.
Yeah.
He did
He did your painting.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. It's
That's like
sexy.
one of my favorite pieces.
It's I got to try to one up that, which I'm not going to be able to do.
He's
So
awesome.
hats
Love
off to
the
that Bill
writer.
Ryder. Yeah.
There's an Oliver in the chat. What's up, Oliver?
Hail 656
We need to get
Oliver.
you on here to talk about kryptonals.
Yeah, definitely. You can probably pick a time. You're flexible, right, Lola? I mean, like time wise with your streams, not
Yes, I get
physically.
what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
There's a Jim Cox. What's up, Jim?
Halo. What's up, Jim Cox?
Edwin the Ace.
Yeah. Everybody go back. Everybody go back to the Ace. Now in Indiegogo. In demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go get the Ace. Maybe I'll pull it up here in just a little bit and we can
Yeah, we'll do that.
shill it a little bit for him.
Shill the Ace.
He can come on here and shill it too. He's got the link. So
there you go.
there's a Keely Chow.
Keely Chow.
Keely?
I don't know a Keely Chow, but welcome. I welcome thee.
Keely Chow's like in all, like I see him in all of the chats. Like
It's not. I've never seen him in my chat.
he was born in the chats.
Not in my chat.
Well, he probably will now.
Oh, thank you, Keely Chow.
There's Matt. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Matt? Everyone, go back. Rock and Roll Ninja.
Yes. Go get you some Rock and Roll Ninja if you haven't
Do it.
already.
I don't know why you haven't. What's wrong with you?
There's a Yodam.
What up, yo time?
Oh, Matt said he would, but his connection's still crap.
Yeah, mine's been cutting in and out too. Past few days. I just think it's our internet provider.
Look here, Amanda B knows what's up. Variety's a spice of life.
Yeah, Amanda, you know I agree with you, but you can't have too much variety. It is possible. Yeah.
Makani's in here. What's up, Makani?
Hey, Makani. He's a talented artist as well.
Yeah, there's talented artists like all over CG.
I wish I was one.
You are one.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see what else.
I think it's all of them, isn't it? Oh, there's my elbow.
Where did I miss? Who did I miss?
No, my elbow cracked.
Oh.
I think it's like a tendon or something. I don't know. I'm just getting old.
Okay. So the
Take
next thing I was like.
Take Makani down.
Huh?
Take Makani down.
Oh.
No, don't put him out of his misery or anything. Not that he's in misery, but you know. Anyway, topic.
Oh no. Topic is grannies.
Phil? Phil Diaz is here?
In here for this one. Oh my god.
Yeah, where's Phil?
Matt said somebody likes getting some neck from grannies.
Yeah, Phil. Phil
Not
likes some
sure
grannies.
who.
Phil likes some grannies, man.
Amanda V says, "You're necking your granny? What?"
No, yeah, definitely. I don't know if that's Matt's style. It doesn't seem like his forte.
I don't think that's Matt's style at all.
No, I don't think so.
That's more of a Phil Diaz.
That's a Diaz all day long.
So
twice on Sunday.
There is a particular granny who is getting some love from the internet.
Ooh.
Toya Wilcox, 63, becomes a hit on porn sites as her raunchy home videos go viral.
Wait, watch the... Oh, I thought that looks like the Watchmen almost. Threw me off.
This one?
Like the font. Looked a little bit like the Watchmen.
Her outfit makes me think of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, the outfit's Clockwork Orange, but like the font with the word watch in it, I don't know why. I instantly thought of the Watchmen.
Apparently, the 63-year-old singer has been donning risque outfits while belting out cover versions on her YouTube channel.
Oh, no. Oh, you have to pull one up.
Oh, Lord. Can I play that?
Well, I mean, you might get a copyright, but you won't get your video taken down. So, because she's just doing a cover, you know what I mean? It's not like BBC.
It says, and now the videos, which include Toya dressed as a sexy French maid and wearing a wet white t-shirt with no bra, have found their way onto adult sites like Xhipster.
Well, of course, I mean, ex hamsters are, yeah, I get, they don't have any class, but, Pornhub has a little more,
But
you know.
apparently, this 63-year-old is getting
Oh,
thousands of views, thousands of times, and is rated high as 91%.
what?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't even understand the people that rate them anyway. It's like, how much time do you have? You're in there, you do your deed, you get out. I don't get it, but ew, you got to pull up one of these YouTube videos, not the one that reveals things, just a regular YouTube
Here,
video.
maybe this
Is there a
one.
link? What's that?
Oh, can you hear?
No, you didn't share audio.
I don't know if it has audio. Hold on.
It should have audio. Weren't we hearing it before though? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
No, no, just
Come
no,
on, Lola.
no,
You didn't get to the best part.
no. That was the best part. Oh my god!
No, you just gotta let it happen. You just gotta let it happen, Lola. You gotta
But
go with it.
apparently, she's doing this with her husband, who's 75.
Oh, oh,
And I wonder how he feels that they're like on porn sites now.
oh. Like, so she's not really doing porn. But
No, she's
dressed.
just dressing up and like pouring water over herself in like wet t-shirts
Oh,
like that.
oh. That's worse than that song.
I mean, we could go through some
No,
of
that's
her
okay.
outfits.
No, we're safe. We don't need to see this. That's okay.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know what else you'll. Oh, just take that down. So bad.
What?
That's so gross. That's worse than Anna's, zip popping videos.
Uh,
I'd rather
Gross.
watch. I'd rather watch those, Lola. That tells you how
You'd
bad
rather
it
watch
is.
zip popping videos than like a grandma in a wet
Yeah,
t-shirt belting
yeah.
out some like
Yes,
prodigy.
yes. Oh,
I don't know which is the more the train wreck there.
oh, it's definitely the granny. What does the chat say?
Oh, the chat's got a lot to say about this one.
Hmm. What the chat has to say.
Matt Bars is like the Lyman Rising Sun, meat and potatoes. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Okay, I think I'm officially done with my trip down art memory lane on Twitter, says Wolverine.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about there, so okay.
But he says, not for nothing, but she looks pretty fucking good for 63. So maybe Wolverine is challenging Bill.
Hey, Wolverine's Wolverine and Phil are hanging out.
Are they?
Well, I mean,
Sounds like it.
yeah, they're in they share similar groups on the porn sites.
Jim Cox says they actually aren't too bad. So I guess Jim Cox has watched
You,
a
you
couple of
gotta
videos.
you gotta think of the gravity of the situation. Emphasis on gravity. Like, I mean, they might be supported up by something because she's chirping on them things. That's not what I want to see. That's not what I want to see.
Amanda faces your priorities are screwed, Jason.
Oh, my priorities are perfectly right in order. I'd rather watch gross, gooey ooze come out of someone's neck.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm seeing more and more like the older generation finding the internet and it kind of scares me.
Yeah, I mean, like, even whenever I'm in my 60s, no. Just, I don't want to see, not alone see that, or just be involved in it as well. I wouldn't want, hey, baby, You're 65 and you're looking fine. Belt out some Christina Aguilera. Let's get you on Pornhub. It's just, it's
I don't
just.
know many 65-year-old women that want to be on Pornhub.
Well, she's on X Hamster, so I mean,
I
that'll
mean,
tell you.
that's not any better.
It's way worse. Yeah, but I don't know. Just yeah, no, that was just too much. That was too much.
Keely Chow. If you want to see Anna's uterus explode, just mention Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, we've seen that plenty of times.
If she loves her Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
Girls all over some Henry Cavill.
Some guys too. Henry Cavill's all over a lot of guys, so.
Cavatino, is this true?
Because he's gay.
Cavatino says Toya Wilcox has an album titled Prostitute.
That's a good album name. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad album name. And welcome.
Jim Cox says you can listen without watching, so.
Yeah, at that point, it's just. Well, at that point, it's just bad karaoke. So, yeah. And that's fine. You know, if people want to watch that, hey, more power to them, I guess. That's what.
Hey, grandmas need love too.
They do. They do, just not from me. So, maybe like a doily. Give him a doily.
Amanda V says Jason's going to encourage his next wife to do the same at 70.
She gonna make me a sandwich at 70.
Like, so are you gonna video her like
making the sandwich? Yes.
And then like put it on Pornhub?
I mean,
why do I get the feeling there's a porn for that?
Oh, because there's a porn for everything, Lola. You name it, you think of it, you could possibly conceive of the idea. It's already been a fetish for like decades, if not centuries. People are into a lot of weird things. That's at 70, she better be like crocheting me like a death pillow or something. I don't know. I don't want her displayed on Pornhub. Come on.
You're like, no.
That's for. And also, I mean, like, I know STDs are on the rise in the senior citizen community because of Viagra and everything. Since they're old, they think they can't, that they've outlived the diseases, I guess. But yeah, no, I don't want to think about that. You don't want to picture that. You want to picture that, Lola?
Not really, no.
Not really. So why do you want to watch somebody pour water?
I mean, I don't want to watch grandpas either, so.
That's what I'm saying. It's just what I'm saying, Lola.
Like, I feel like our culture encourages this way too much.
Like, I wouldn't have minded seeing that her singing the video. That's funny. That's funny to me because that's just bad.
I watch one that plays like, oh shit, what is that game? InWatch or? Not Fortnite.
Not Fortnite.
Something Watch.
Overwatch.
Overwatch. Yeah, she plays Overwatch.
Show how much we play video games.
She's like an 80-year-old grandma, and all she does is like play Overwatch.
See, that's funny.
It's hilarious because she talks shit too.
Yeah, that's what's cool.
And she's actually really good at it. Like,
yeah, it's like those 90-year-old like senior, like any senior citizen, that just curses like a sailor, no matter what. It's like, oh, you're adorable.
I feel like I'm gonna be that little old lady.
You better.
Like, I just feel like at some point I'm gonna be old and I'm still gonna be just like as crass and mean and as fiery as I already am.
Well, I mean, someday you are gonna be old someday, and so yeah, you better be you better be a firecracker.
I mean, the reality of it is I'll probably be the little lady sitting in the nursing home, like just crocheting, not bothering nobody. But
oh, you could do better than that. Come on.
You never know.
I have higher expectations.
Cavatino's Prostitute has 3 songs on it. Hello, Prostitute, and Wife, released in 1988. I mean, I would like to know if that's true or not.
I mean, there's Google, but I just don't feel like looking it up. So I'll take his word for it.
Skip Edwards, what's up, man? He says
What
shags
up,
up
Skip?
Lola Jason in the chat.
What up, Skip? Skip had asked about next time I do a test your might. I'll probably hit him up because he asked me. So I
What
don't know
nights do you do the test your might?
whenever I have time. There's no real set. Like I'll do the time lapse ones because I don't have to schedule anything. I can just draw for 30 minutes, and it's just 30 minutes. I mean, yeah, I have to edit the video, but and then upload it. But the drawing doesn't take as long. If I'm doing the live stream, it's 45 an hour. But I have to set up a time. But when I record it, I can do it whenever I want. So, but it's usually I try to do it on a weekend. Sometimes it goes according to plan. Sometimes it doesn't. I was almost late to the one with Luke. So
That was a pretty good one, man.
thank you. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. He used a brush. I was like, wow, that's very impressive, dude. So
Are you working on anything tonight?
I drew a little bit.
Can you show
Uh,
us?
uh, that's what I can show you.
Oh,
Okay, hold on. I got to move my camera down.
I was like,
Uh,
wait a minute, it's way over there.
Hello. Yeah. No, yeah, our table's way over there. That's why I don't. Um, that's why I don't live stream whenever I'm drawing on my computer does. Or on my, you know what I
Skip says he's off for the next 3 nights. Jason, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
mean. Well, tomorrow I'm on topic list. Wednesday I have art and stuff. I'm on art and stuff at 9. Thursday, I have no clue. So maybe we'll see. I got to work on absolute. Let me see if I point at the camera. It's kind of close. There's the panel. The bottom, the very bottom, the bottom left, the screen's left, with all the debris flying everywhere. The one before that with like the black stripes.
Right.
That one I did a while ago. So they went next to it. This is the one that I was working on tonight. But I got to put in I might put in like some halftone pattern or maybe some like words like boom boom or whatever or something like that digitally. So I might leave the rest of it blank. And then the eyeball one that was done a little bit ago too. And then the other ones are not detailed yet. They're just the printed outline.
So are you lettering in on digital?
Digital, yeah.
Cool.
I do that in Adobe Illustrator. So yeah, but I might add more stuff. But if I scan it and print it out, I might scan it and print it out first to see what it looks like. Because you don't want it too much in there, and then everything gets lost. So yeah, I was working on that while I was listening to the Dan Shaheen thing. So, bloop.
It's cool, man.
Thank you.
It's coming along. It's happening.
Yeah. I'm finally getting back to pages. I could pop in.
Mahogany, I sent you the link.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Come on in, Mahogany. Yeah. You got.
He's really sweet.
Yeah, he's good people. Oh no.
We got Anthony. What's up, Anthony?
How you feeling, man?
What's up? I'm good. Thanks, man. How you doing?
I know you've been sick.
What do you think about old Toya?
Oh, who?
Oh, did you not see?
No. I jumped in maybe 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
Well,
hold on. I'll bring this back up.
Yeah. Show him the video.
So Toya here, right? Anthony. She's 3 and she's become a hit on porn sites because she does raunchy videos of music covers.
Yeah, I've seen some of their stuff. That's her and her husband, right?
Yeah.
How do you know about this?
I didn't know she was on porn sites.
Yeah, apparently ex-hamster.
She does porn?
She doesn't know.
They've uploaded her videos to porn sites because she does wet t-shirts.
Oh, right. All right, yeah, that's stupid.
But she has a 91% approval rating over there.
Well, they like the MILFs, I guess.
That's not a dude.
That's not MILF. That's a GILF.
That's a gilf, yeah. That's a gilf.
That's a whole different ballgame. It's like you gotta watch your mamas and your daughters no more. You gotta watch your grandmas.
Hey, Keely Chow, what's up, brother? Oh, look, it's Dean. Me and Dean
Dean's
are
here?
trolling each other tonight.
Yeah.
Dean always
What's up,
gets
Dean?
lost. He gets lost and ignored in the chat.
How did DG hear of it? If it wasn't from porn, I'm not buying it. I swear it was because I listened to I subscribe to a lot of like independent music on YouTube, and it just
But I heard her music and it wasn't.
it's not that good, no. But it was one of their videos was one of like was recommended to me. And I think it was like one of the very few that I you could kind of mark off as like don't recommend this again.
I mean, I gotta say though, I gotta give her grandma props, right? Like she is putting herself out there. She just got the confidence, so
yeah, they're definitely doing their thing. Yeah, and they got a following on YouTube and whatnot, so good for them. Just not my thing.
Right.
And it's funny because I think I saw somebody mention the Sweet Child of Mine. That was the video that was recommended to me, was their version of Sweet Child of Mine.
I thought I saw that somewhere too.
Yeah.
Here, Cappuccino. Cappuccino apparently went down the rabbit hole to see what this was all about. So we wouldn't have to.
At a concert, no less.
Yeah. I wonder if it was a wet t-shirt concert.
Oh, I don't want to know that.
Amanda thinks me and Jim Cox are pervs now. She doesn't believe that YouTube recommended it to us.
I'm with Amanda there. I think you sought this out.
I just assume everyone's a perv, so.
Proud.
I mean, I am a perv, but
I just assume we're all like that's why we're here, right?
Just not in this case. There was no perviness involved in this case.
You're like, I wonder if I could find some like grandmas doing some weird shit.
Oh, listen, I've seen some grandmas doing some weird shit on Pornhub, but I'm just saying this.
Why are you watching it?
I wasn't watching it.
You just said you watched.
I've seen it.
You had to see something. You have to watch it.
There's a thumbnail.
What category are you searching, man?
Yeah.
Oh, you could put like blonde and like, blonde granny pops up. You know what I mean?
Not
so.
Well, I don't know, man. Not usually.
Go ahead. Go do it right now.
I'm doing it right now. I'm on a stream doodling. I'll do it later tonight.
He's like, no, I ain't looking for no grandmas.
Before I go to bed.
Oh man.
Oh my god. So you've been up to, Anthony?
Oh, not
other
much.
than like scoping out grandmas.
No, I worked the weekend, so that sucked. But not that work sucks in itself. It was actually yesterday was a good day. It was a $500 day, but
nice.
Yeah, can't complain about that. But
you still can't.
No, it's just like when I'm God, I can't wait to Friday when I get this MRI. I don't want to like talk about my shit or whatever, but
kill the stream, Anthony. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
bring everyone down.
It's just when I walk around for more than like 5 minutes, I'm in a lot of pain. So like being on my feet for 7 hours, like running up and down stairs and all that stuff, it just by the end of it, I was like, yeah, I'm a mess. But I can't wait.
What the hell? What are you doing? Are you trying to like torment Anthony?
Nah, he knows I'm joking.
Jay's like my sketchy little brother.
Yeah, there you go. Very sketchy.
I love it.
Very little too. I'm short.
I said sketchy, not sketchy.
You should say sketchy.
Have you guys heard about Twitch like banning hot tub streamers?
No, they demonetized them, right?
Demonetized them.
Yeah.
I mean, it might as well ban them at that point.
I thought they made a whole category for them, like, but they
'Cause
called it
that's like-
something else.
Yeah, I heard they like 90% of them are getting demonetized.
What were you gonna? Why, Lola? What?
Because I found this awesome article. It says Twitch, in response to action against hot tub streamers, promises not to discriminate against sexy people. Any thoughts?
Don't discriminate against us prostitutes. We don't like it. They're selling their body. They're selling their body for money. That's a prostitute. It's pretty much a stripper.
Well, I didn't say that, so.
You know, I'll say it all day, every day. You're using your body for monetary gain. You're a stripper.
She's just they're virtual strippers. Is exactly
They're virtual strippers. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like if you're in like in Jersey and some other states where like if there's booze involved, they don't get fully naked anyway. That's exactly what they're doing. Is exactly what I could see in any go-go bar in New Jersey.
I actually take this back. I think a stripper has a higher class standing because they're actually dancing, they're moving, they have to have choreography, they actually have to do things. These people just stare in front of a camera and read the chat. That's it.
Oh.
They don't provide content.
Oh, dude, the early 2000s was even horrible for that in the go-go bars. Like in the Northeast here, like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, we had what we called it. Because I was working in some go-go bars back then, and we had what we called the Russian invasion, and it was basically legal prostitution. Is really what it was. Like these dudes. These dudes from Russia would pay for these girls to come over, come over here to the States, pay their whole way, set them up with an apartment, pay their tuition to like a local community college. Most of them were in Brooklyn. Most of them were from Brooklyn, and basically said, "Okay, we'll do all this for you. Now, what you got to do for us is every night we're gonna take you." And they would literally go to the. It used to be like the go-go bars would pay the dancers X amount of dollars per set plus their tips. And then these guys came in and said, I got 13 girls in the van right now. I'll pay you $6 a set for all 13 girls to let them work here. So they would pay the club for the girls to come in and work. So the girls would make the tips. It was like and they didn't even dance. They just walked around, spun around in front of you, and then like.
They're
Just
spending
think if they had all started a Twitch account, how much they could be making.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have to do nowhere near as much work. I'm sorry. To me, the Twitch thought is like the bottom. There's lower than the bottom rung of like any form of entertainment that there possibly could be. Like at least even with prostitutes, you're getting something. You're getting laid a little bit, but they're not getting any like even here you're at least getting content. We're talking about subject matters, we're going over topics, we're discussing things. Like almost every night is a different topic. There's intellectual debates. What is there in a thought stream? There's nothing.
There's Q&A.
Yeah, but I could get that anywhere, literally anywhere, and for free. And for free. It's just the lowest form of entertainment there possibly could be.
And most of them talk like shit to their to their chat.
Horrible people. Deplorable. Yeah, that's my thought on that.
I agree.
Your thought on that?
I agree.
Well, it's kind of interesting that they're demonetizing some of these women for it, and yet they're okay with others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like Jim Cox here. He said he saw some dude fatter than him in stockings with a garter belt and some bra in a hot tub.
I think that
now,
was
if you're going to demonetize the women, what you should demonetize the men too, right?
Yeah, I mean that's parody. I think though at that point.
You think so? I mean, I would be more likely to watch the dude in the stockings and garter belt.
Yeah, I think they're doing it out of a parody to mock them. And there may be some that are actually serious. I have no idea, but I don't know. It's just it's just so ridiculous. Like, at least have some kind of conversation, a topic. Like, there's this one broad, she gives like exercise tips, like actual legitimate exercise tips, and she'll go through them slowly, but then actually do them. That's something like that's okay. That makes sense. Just because she's attractive, hey, it happens. She works out. She's going to be attractive. But when they just sit there like, you're so silly. Really? Okay. Like, what are you doing? Am I right, Clayton?
I missed the first part of what we were talking about. Remind me.
Well, the actual topic was Twitch banning thoughts on doing hot tub streams or whatever. I was more or less talking about Twitch thoughts in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they don't need to be doing anything useful for me. Just as long as they look good, I'm all down for the eye candy. I'm a simple man. I don't need much more than that. But
Would
you
you
know,
pay?
if they want to tell me what the weather forecast is and give me exercise
Well-
tips, maybe show me an interesting recipe, I won't reject that either.
There you go. Show me a good recipe. You're a
Give me
woman.
some
You should know
content,
how.
yeah.
That's a joke. But yeah, some content of some kind. I really don't care what it is. Provide
So
something.
you want to like watch someone bake while they're
In a bikini.
Naked
Yeah.
baking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
In
Naked
sexy
baking?
lingerie.
Yeah, and sexy
I'd watch
lingerie,
Nate.
stuff like that. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Well, here's my point, Clayton. This is where I'm coming from. All right, you have a YouTube channel. You're making a comic book. You're trying to promote it. You're trying to build your channel and subs and all this fun stuff. Taking you a long time to get where you're getting at. Just because this broad has a nice rack, she can go onto Twitch and just talk to people and instantly get at least like 5,000 subs or followers or whatever, and make thousands a month. That's where I'm getting at with no content.
It's unfair.
It's not so much fair as just I don't know. It's just like at least provide content. That's all I'm
But-
saying.
doesn't it kind of like show the imbalance between like men and women?
Kind of.
It
Well,
does.
we'll find out. I will fix my hot tub, and this summer I will stream from my hot tub.
You almost
and
made me
see what
spit out my
happens.
drink, man. Don't do that.
Don't do it. It's not going to work. It's
I
not
heard
going to
Clayton
end
was
up
going to
what
make it a stretch goal for Kozar.
Hot tub stream.
What's up?
But
What's up, Magani?
What's up?
Clayton, if you start to be able to do them 50 push-ups a day, you might be able to do a hot tub time stream.
maybe.
Is this
See,
a hot tub time machine?
I almost did, yeah. But go ahead, Clayton.
yeah. The thing is dudes are visual creatures. So the ladies, these hot tub babes, are just appealing to what men want. They're appealing to what they're naturally going to be hooked in on. For dudes, you've got to be, you got to start to let the ladies get to know you a little bit. You've got to stimulate them emotionally in order to establish that connection. It doesn't hurt if you've got some semi-plump biceps and deltoids, a nice six-pack. That can go a long way. But at the end of the day, if you're able to get those emotions running, that's when you got to hit. So I don't know. Maybe you could do some kind of, especially if you've got a good voice, you could do like a storytelling session from 50 Shades of Grey or something like
Oh,
that.
there you go.
I believe that'd be a hit.
How about I just play my guitar from the hot tub?
You can
You
do
have
that.
do you have a six-pack?
I do.
Well, there
Oh.
you go, man.
Do you really?
Is it Coors or Bud?
Neither actually. No, I do. It's not like I do sit-ups. I'm just naturally thin, so it's all just natural cuts and stuff.
We all hate you. So
I'm not ripped or anything. If that, yeah.
yeah. So what are your thoughts, Makini?
On what? The
On the demonetization
streamer?
of hot tub streamers on Twitch.
So, Amaranth, of course, got remonetized after her being demonetized, and they're getting then she's getting less. And from what I heard from Jeremy Hamblin, the quartering was that the advertisers are not fond of the hot tub streamers now, the hot tub meta. So I think it's going to be a big change about that with it. But knowing the hot tub streamers, the Twitch girls, if you want to say thoughts, if you want to be more bluntly, they'll find a workaround with that. I was talking this with over some friends earlier who I think the problem is that or I think the real problem is that you have, and it's always been an ongoing problem with like Twitch, is like you actually have like girls who don't do that kind of stuff, like the real girls who are actual gamers, girls who don't do like the part of the just chat and stuff, and they usually either get overshadowed or they get harassed, I guess you could say, in their own chats, asking them just like, "Are you doing a hot tub?" If you know what I mean.
Really?
So a lot of simping.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those hot tubs must be super popular.
They were, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Clayton. That's why you need to make it a stretch goal.
Hell yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like-
but I'm not a sexy babe with big boobies. Like, no one's going to want to watch me in a hot tub. Even with my chiseled jawline.
It's
that
okay. It's
grows by the day
2021.
of
What you can
can
do-
get you a big pair of knockers. That's not a problem.
Do well. There might be girls enjoy the hot tub guy stream, so it's something to think
Yeah.
about.
Amanda B makes a good point here. She says, "Hey, people are watching and paying. There is a market.
Exactly.
There is a
As long as
market.
they're watching and paying."
I like how advertisers pretend to have morals by not advertising on the hot tub streams. It's like, dude, these streams are getting views. Forget all the virtue signaling. You're an advertiser. You're not supposed to worry about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
right. Just
what-
play my ad.
What I was talking with a few friends over is that they fear that a lot of the kind of what's going on in Twitch might come over to YouTube, though,
Yeah. I don't see that.
where like
I-
advertisers will. What
I
mean
get
is,
what
like,
you're saying with the advertisers, but like there's a different set of rules, it seems, between Twitch and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the
but
advertisers
yeah,
do that
but here's the
already.
thing.
They pull their ads off people's
Well,
YouTube
it's not
channels all
not
the time.
just I didn't mean just the advertisers, but kind of the thing you're seeing with the hot tub and like the Twitch girls, they could be coming over to YouTube as well. And the thing is, it could be playing. YouTube can end up be playing favorites, and bringing up like it brings up like the hypocrisy, the favoritism, double standards, and such. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's already YouTube channels completely dedicated to running clips of these streams.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
That's disgusting. Where?
They're simple. It's just simple. Look, you can simply look it up. Just look up a name of
it's
any
true.
of the big ones like Amaranth or Pokemon, whatever, and you can find clips of them on YouTube all the time.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
find compilations.
I
I wonder if
Nice.
Sugar Chris is still in
I don't know.
here. Sugar Chris, it looks like Amanda B knows what's up with the red dress. By the way, everyone in here should go and sub to Sugar Chris.
and Lola.
He does the
there you
morning roast every morning. Get him to 1,000 subs so he has to wear a red dress.
go. And Lola.
Sub,
she wears
sub
a fur.
everybody here.
Yes, definitely.
If you're clicking all these sub buttons, click on everybody. Hell with it.
But Michael T, I'm
Exactly,
trying to
Michael.
get Chris to that 1,000 so I can get that red dress on him.
Oh, it'll happen. Don't rush it.
Wait! What about me? I'm going to 1,000.
Do you want to wear a
What
red
do you-
dress too?
Yeah, what are you going to do,
No.
though?
I'm nowhere near 1,000.
I don't think
You're
we
having
that yet.
Well, see, me and Chris are kind of in a war right now because, like,
Ah,
at like 1,000, they want me to wear a furry suit in live stream. But
Mhm,
I've
that's
told
right.
Chris he's going to hit the 1,000 before me, well before me. So I'm trying to get more people to sub to him. Go What's up?
Yep.
I kind of think people want to see you in a furry suit more than want to see Chris in a red dress.
No. Everybody wants to see Chris in the red dress.
I kind
I
of
don't
want
know
to
if
see
you make it
both
a-
equally.
If you kind of make it a competition, get Anthony and Jason going on their subs too. All three of them just do a who wore it better stream.
That's
No.
awesome, Michael D.
Michael,
Yeah.
shut your
I-
fucking mouth.
What? I wasn't paying attention. What?
You just
How
threw
about
me and you
this?
under the bus is what just happened.
How about this? Who wore better? And the winner, I will do a drawing of them live.
All right. I'm
Well,
gonna
here's the
smack
thing.
your head
Oh
into
my God,
Michael's
that's
head,
amazing.
bikini.
How about this? I'm not going to do it.
Says,
There you go.
Sugar
Oh,
Chris
come
says, people need to stop simping. Twitch needs to quit having a double standard and enforce their rules equally. And
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
putting this stuff out on a site where the main demographic is kids.
Yeah,
I don't
because of
Well,
the
teens,
gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, gaming. Twitch is a gaming platform, really. That's what its main thing is.
Well, like
Yeah,
I've got a little one, right? And like she watches like YouTube videos. Like she likes to watch people play video games on YouTube. But she doesn't even know what Twitch is, so
Yeah, but we're talking like 10-year-old, to like 13-year-old kids that like.
Yeah, it's 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's people who basically kind of lie on the internet to, well, we all lie on the internet. Lie on the internet and think they're older to get into these 18 plus like streams. And, it's
Yeah,
I
when their
think it's
gate
very
is-
sad. Best is like, we need like, it's not that just need like a father figure. We just need like a male figure or something to just kind of like, I think he said it best was just like, listen, like these guys who are simping, like these kids, these teens who are just like simping for like girls, I was like, you guys need to understand, how to actually talk to girls in real life,
Little bar.
because you're just paying them to read your comments, and they only care only if you're giving money to them. And I think
have
that's
you
something
seen the
that's kind of,
ones that are like really rude to like people that are giving them money?
Oh, there's been a couple that have been called out completely because they went off on not subscribing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like what?
If you can't afford
$5
$5 a month, then you
month.
don't need to be on Twitch. You should be out there getting a job, so then you can pay me.
Yeah, and
Fuck
Vader
off.
V. That. Mhm.
How does
You're
that
not my
make
wife.
any
Piss
sense?
off.
Like, how are you supposed to get people to like want to like give you money and stuff if you're being rude to them? I've never
It's
understood
that
that.
ego. It's that ego. If they,
You know what's amazing? I used to go to a bar, talk to a girl, pick her up, and I never bought her anything. It's amazing.
something-
That's the key.
yeah,
You didn't buy
yeah,
her a
something to
drink?
think about.
No, are you kidding me?
How the hell did you
Think about
get
it. Once in a
to
while-
you?
It's called
Well, it's
personality,
easy.
Lola.
It's easy when you drug them.
It's called
And
anti-simping. It's very
Mm.
And,
attractive.
and that's something that, kind of think about is
Anti-simping?
that like,
Yeah.
it's something
Go ahead,
to think
Makani,
about is
sorry.
that like once in a while you'll hear a story uncover about like how like one kid or someone basically spent like tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars basically running out their entire family's credit card just on this one girl, or how someone basically could go homeless putting
It's
up like their
brutal.
mortgage or their rent money just on this
And it's
one girl.
happened.
You know what I mean?
It's
Oh,
happened
no.
a couple of times.
Like the greatest like murder case I ever heard of was the guy who ended up murdering his family because he was paying a Twitch thought, and like they'd cut him off and they wouldn't let him have any more money. So he ended up murdering his
exactly.
whole family.
Is that a true story?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like with the whales and like games with microtransactions, those free to play games, and people who spend
Yeah.
like hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. It's just like that.
Dude, that's kind of amazing. I mean, I can't
It's just
believe
the
that
thing
the
is
human-
that you're. Well, the
People
thing
do
is
that.
that's
That's
what I was saying
crazy.
earlier. It's just like that's why I think that that's why I think there's like guys here is like we need to. I do think they need to learn how to be understand what's like being rejected, learn
Oh,
how to
yeah.
be rejected, learn how to actually talk to women. Because if you're spending like $1,000, like those girls are only interested in you because you're just putting money in them. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
this is
happens.
the
They
old
wouldn't
man
give
in me
you an
talking.
that happens in real life too, because you
Mm-hmm.
go to any like go-go bar, and like literally there's always some dude there, and he always goes on the same night that one specific dancer works, and buys a bottle of champagne, and he tips her all the money, and next thing you know, she's talking about this, and he's bringing her gifts. I've seen it all go down, man. These
Mm-hmm.
guys, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the internet. These guys will find
Yeah, yeah,
somebody.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, but it's easier to control live.
and the thing, yeah, and the thing is, I'm not being a prude. I'm not being a complete prude. As I say, hey, hey, if you're making money, work that money. That's all. I'm just saying,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I agree. I agree.
to the guys who are simping, to the guys who think it's like, you know, you guys can, just understand that, just kind of understand that when you go into it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
no, I
sure.
mean, there's an obsession there for sure. Like, it's one thing if you're like, oh wow, this chick is hot. Let me throw her like $1 every now and then, on a super chat or
Mhm.
something, just so like she keeps doing this, because I like to pop in once in a blue moon, right? There's a difference between that
Yeah,
guy and like the guy who's there every night for like 8 hours of the stream, like you said,
and
emptying
it's
out
the
credit
same thing. Like,
cards. Yeah.
yeah, when it's kind of like that. It's usually kind of funny when it happens when you have like this rising, like the okay girls, like when everybody found out, when people found out that she had a boyfriend, she lost so many subs. I was like, because I'm like these
Yeah, you
fucking
never tell them you got a
it's like these
boyfriend.
simps.
See,
Yeah,
I
you
haven't
never
told
talk to that
anybody you
girl
have a
having like a
boyfriend, Jason.
significant other.
you tell
Yeah,
them you have a
yeah, but
husband.
when
You
it
tell 'em.
I mean,
finds
if you're
out, when
wanting
they
to make
find
money,
out, yeah, when they find out, yeah, people just like those simps, they lose
They get
interest or they
mad.
throw a fit or
Yeah.
something because like yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's what
What
what I'm talking about. I'm like,
Like one girl, I think, got death threats from one of the guys when they found out she had a boyfriend.
Well, Anthony, you've seen this live too. I guarantee it. At the female bartenders, male bartenders, they pretend they ain't got nobody at home,
Oh
even if
yeah,
they do.
even if they do. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're good bartenders,
Right?
they're smart bartenders.
Yeah, I've got to
I,
bust
I've
my
seen.
ass
I
twice
just
as
I
much
just
to
was
make
like,
half the tips a chick does.
Yeah, I worked with a few girls who would take their wedding rings off or engagement rings off when they got to work. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of mindset. I was like, listen, I look at it as like they have no interest in me whatsoever, and only interested in just like because I did money to them. So I was like, I have no, what's the point of me? I feel like that's for me. That's just I had no interest in that, and it's just like it's a waste of money for me, and it could be
Yeah.
spent elsewhere.
You could be out there slaying,
well,
in
I'm
real
just
life.
like,
Mhm.
you could go and get a real woman for what they pay for Twitch thuds.
Yep.
You know
Well,
what
yeah,
I
and
mean?
that's what
Actually true.
and that's
Huh?
what I'm saying, and that's why I agreed with Jeremy saying. Was like, these guys, we gotta show them how to. They gotta experience like actually talking to women in real life and actual rejection and stuff because it builds their game up.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just
how
like
much
you
have
could
people been able to
actually
see each
literally go and pay a woman the amount of money that they're spending on something like that, and like go pick a woman up, and yeah, she may be a professional, but at the same time, you could spend the same money and get a handy at the end of it.
Hey, learn rejection. Learn rejection. And learn rejection because it builds your game up.
Well, you're talking about an entire generation of people who are told they are singularly special and can do no wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
They got participation.
yeah, but
trophy.
They are
yeah, they
always
got a
going to win no
participation.
matter what.
Yeah, it's that participation trophy, but reality is not going to be very kind to them as they get older. Reality won't be kind to them.
The other big
Period.
issue as well, we were talking about it on here one other night. It's not the same playing field as it once was as far as picking up the chicks, because
Right.
just approaching a woman, they
Yeah.
might call you out for harassment, shut you
Yeah, and
down.
that's the other sad thing. It's just like,
And like I said, there's a lot of things that I used to do that I probably wouldn't do now, just because you got people
Get
being
Me Too.
charged and shit for very mundane stuff.
Well, and you've got this whole past year and a half where nobody's been allowed to go outside and actually meet other damn people. So they've been stuck on computers and living that life.
Absolutely, man. But I do agree with McKinney. People need to develop those communication skills, understand the psychology of a woman and a man, and the fact that they are different, and that both require different ways of communication. You know, how do you court a lady? How do you court a dude if you're a lady, or another dude who's into dudes? You know, there is definitely you could say
You walk up
strategy to
behind
this
him, you
stuff.
hit him over the head with
You
the
know,
club, and you drag him
What
home
is
by
it
their
with
hair.
going using these words tonight? Clayton's over here using courting, and then in the chat, I've got Sugar Chris using words that I didn't even realize he knew,
like chivalry.
like labia.
chivalry. What the?
Wait, are you assuming that we're not talking to you? We're just playing with Legos and stuff?
Well,
What?
and that's the thing. It's just like
Half of us are writers. We know words.
Yeah.
No, I don't
and-
mean
and-
like
and you
that.
can- and-
Like it's 2021. How often do you hear the word courting?
Like so one of the things, for examples, that a lady does
Could
really
drive right by
enjoy
that.
is when you don't. You could ask, "Hey, is it okay if I kiss you?" Or you could just attempt to kiss her,
Yeah.
and that is much more attractive, in all honesty. Because even if you get rejected, what creates the attraction is the way in which you take that rejection. If you don't care and you're all cool, calm, and collected about it, you probably make out later on. So you almost need that rejection in order to build attraction. But hey,
That's
maybe
what
you
I'm
get lucky
saying.
and you
Build
make
that
out anyway. But here's the thing: that would be something where you could get in a lot of shit for it now.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Just
culture
even
that
just
we
being
live
a
in
even
2021
just being a gentleman and holding a door open can land you in hot water. Sadly.
Yeah, I still do it.
And I hate to see that, and I hate that. And that's it. I still do it regardless. I hate that's kind of the time we're living in now.
Yeah. It's but you know what, man? I think that a majority of the thing is what we say isn't necessarily the way in which we act. It's not necessarily what we actually want. So I think as long as you have developed those skills and you've got them under your belt, you can still go out and pull the same moves that you always move. You can still interact in that attractive, stud-like manner. But and the thing is, what will probably happen with 90% of the ladies, the people that you're seeking out, is they'll react to it in a positive manner. They'll love it.
Yeah, because
And you get the 10% that are on Twitter too much that will completely freak out.
and that's the thing. And Clayton, you're exactly right on that, because you also have to understand is that not everybody's on Twitter. Not everybody lives on the internet. So
Exactly.
it's people are normies.
And let me tell you, even like a 100% maximum feminist will still, she'll be weakened by the charm of a man who knows how to pull the moves, who knows what he is doing. So she might, to her friends, she might be like, that is wrong, that is unacceptable. And yet, when she meets a guy who does those exact things that she logically rejects, but emotionally is stimulated by, she'll go for it.
Sweeps her right off her feet.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, let me tell you. Let me break a little secret to y'all. Feminist females do not want to date feminist men.
Right.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't want
There are
to
articles.
They don't want to date cucks.
I read an article about this chick, right? Like, she was talking about dating a male feminist, and she'd given him a blowjob, and he literally cried.
Oh my god.
What?
Also, here's the thing. Also, it's something in Lola, you probably know this all too well. I think everybody here and everybody in the chat knows all too well. It's just like, when they say that they're male feminists, you start to kind of step away, because that they've been in some. They like to spout, and then then you find out later it's like, oh, they got involved in like being like a sex offender or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying not all of them, but a good chunk of them
A good portion of them just say that they're male feminists so that they can get laid. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Even it doesn't
Yeah.
happen,
And they never
pissed.
get laid.
Yeah, and then they find out. Then you find out, and then worst case scenario, you find out that they're like, they're in these like the abuse scandals or something like that. They get canceled and stuff like that because they found out they did some stuff to some girls in the past, and yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
dude, I
usually
love it.
just how it goes. You do find out that they've been into some shit, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like a guy crying because a woman gives him a blowjob. Like, who does that?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a long
That's
time.
not even
since
beta.
we've been
That's
laid.
like that's not even beta. That's way down though. That's like Omicron.
I know, right? I'm like, come on.
But
I'm like, bruh.
like, that was her reason for not dating male feminists, because she couldn't be like we're told that we're supposed to be like the sexual revolution and all this stuff, right? Like, we're supposed to be empowered women, right? And a woman that likes to do something like that, she doesn't want a guy that's like crying the whole time. Like,
She doesn't want to have power over a man in the bedroom necessarily. Sometimes,
no,
maybe
they want to
just
be
mix
choked and
things
put up against a wall.
Yeah.
I wasn't going that direction, but okay.
Well, it's no, but no.
It's more common now.
What I was talking about. It's just that kind of. It's just you're. It's just I don't like being that big. I don't like seeing that behavior because they talk big game. They talk like how they're all for women's rights and all that stuff, but in reality they're not. And also you find out the fact that they bully the same women that they try to white knight for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they'll like try to shoo off anybody else who like says anything nice about him either. It's like, no, I'm the only white knight for this person.
Why y'all so
They get very
racist,
horrible.
man? Why these knights got to be white and stuff?
See, I'm of the same mindset
So
as Sugar
racist.
Chris. I think a lot of them have like mental issues.
Exactly.
Corey Barton comes in here with the win. He said maybe she used teeth.
Nothing wrong with that. A little bit.
The right amount is fine.
See?
Whatever.
Stop with that. Stop with that. There's no right amount.
There is a right amount. I'm telling you.
There's
You
no
haven't.
right
That sounds like
There
gamma
is
talk.
no right amount.
Again.
There is no time should there ever be teeth on your penis.
You just-
Ever.
you gotta-
Sounds like something a gamma would say, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but
no,
it's
you-
true.
I like it. They just went straight. It was like when they go straight to home base. You're like, I wouldn't say. I'll find a reason why not. Why say no? I'm like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. They know, trust me. They know what they're doing when they do it. So, yeah, you got to trust them sometimes.
No.
Yeah,
It's all right, man.
Mike
Just let it.
Murphy,
you
what's
say
up?
you say it like a trust exercise. Just,
It is.
Trust
it's like-
exercise.
might have
it's like a
You
trust
gotta
fall.
trust that she's not gonna
No,
bite you. Like,
there's just no reason why teeth should be involved.
You've had a past trauma, haven't you, Anthony? Who hurt you?
No,
Tell me.
not at all. Not at all. I saw one go down. My buddy was on the back of a bus when we hit a bump.
You don't do it on a bus, man.
Oh,
That was
this-
not. That was not good.
man.
That was
No,
not
yeah.
good. I never heard a grown man scream like a woman before
Well, yeah,
until
because-
that day.
They're probably sitting on that one seat that everybody likes to get, like the one right above the back wheel. And oh no, fuck that.
Yeah, that's exactly where they were.
Mike Murphy says he wants Clayton to record a How to Be a Player audiobook.
Yeah, I think it would do well.
I've seriously thought about this because the thing is I've got a few buddies of mine, and I feel for these guys. They had a breakup 10 years ago. They're still traumatized from the breakup. Or they haven't ever been with a woman, and they're hitting mid-30s, and I'm like, shit, man. Like, I got to start up some kind of service here. Like, I got to take these guys out and find them a wife before it's too late. And I did think about it. If I had more time on my hands, or I wasn't doing comic books or something like that, I was pretty passionate about this stuff back in the day. So I might have.
Yeah,
You should do a self-help comic book.
What's up, Christopher? John?
Yeah.
Fully
Say Chris
illustrated.
John and
Fully
Weiss.
illustrated.
Yeah.
What's up, Parrot? Paris says some
You
guys
build a good
enjoy
story.
tuning forks inserted into their member, then hit.
Hmm.
That's no.
You know what I enjoy? I enjoy being in the company of male feminists, right? So,
Mhm.
sometimes I'll catch up with a bunch of friends. Some of them will be very like-minded. Others will be completely opposite in regards to how they see the world and the people within it. Some of those are male feminists, some are feminists. But you know what's so great is everything I say looks so out of line. It sounds so out of line. So I've got all the ladies looking toward me and they're like, oh, who's this guy? He can think for himself. He
Yep.
doesn't give a
Yeah,
shit
it's
what
just,
anyone else thinks. And all the male feminists, all they can do is dig their hole deeper by trying to pull me up. And of course I'm sitting there making too much sense, which they definitely don't like. Yeah. I love it. I think that they give you an
it's you,
edge. So if
you're
you have any
trying to.
male feminist friends, take them out with you, man. They'll make you look good.
So you're saying make male feminist your wingman?
Exactly,
Yeah.
100%.
But why the hell would you do that? Because
It's no different, Lola. It's no different than a hot chick taking a fat chick with her along to the bar. It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Same thing.
Pretty much.
I want to disagree with Wolverine on his motor vehicles for hand jobs, not blow jobs. There's nothing better than roadhead. When you're on a long
I
like
don't
road
know
trip.
what-
I almost wrecked my fucking car once. Holy shit.
I always learn something new about everyone on my panel and in my chat every night. Every night I find out something new.
I can't. Yeah, no, it's like y'all got me to talk about like SFM stuff. Yes, last night.
But you should be allowed to talk about that. You should talk about that.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's
You don't-
funny
you
that it's
don't know what-
controversial now.
You honestly don't understand what people are actually into. Some people might be scared away. Some people might be interested. You know.
Or
You
some
never
people may want to learn
understand.
more about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning about sounding right now from the chat. Like, what the hell?
What's going on?
Kevin Tino says never Google sounding rods.
Oh yeah.
Never.
yeah.
Don't Google
are they?
blue waffles either. But yeah.
My friends have a band. Their band. They have an album called "Dive Into the Great Blue Waffle." It's a great album, actually. It's a really good album.
Rose?
It's got a funny name.
I find it interesting, like all the double standards that come with it, and then like I said, feminists don't want male feminists. Like women do not want
Exactly.
these bitch ass pussy men.
Well, and it's just like, sometimes I hear this stuff, and I hear it coming from Australia and stuff. It's like moms who are like feminists who want to raise their son to be like a male feminist. I'm like, you're gonna scar him for life.
We have an
Yeah.
Australian on the panel. Are you aware of this?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
wouldn't
It's
be-
just I've
it
heard
wouldn't
some
surprise
stuff
me.
like that. I've heard.
I
Yeah,
thought that
What
was
is
just
it?
they're
speech
doing
impediment.
such a
But it's not
disservice
just-
to their son.
Yeah, it's just like it's like I'm just like you're gonna scar that boy for life if you're gonna raise him.
He's
to
never
be
gonna
like,
settle down with anybody, and if he
Exactly.
does, he'll be taken advantage of and completely treated like a doormat.
Mhm.
And he'll
Yeah.
welcome it.
That's why we should raise our sons to be like masculine.
Yeah, like I've got a little daughter,
Well,
right? One day she's gonna be a woman, and I want her to find a strong man that won't beat me up, and who
That won't
can look
beat you
after
up?
her. Yeah, who
Establish
won't beat me
dominance
up.
early by a
Well,
shotgun now.
Who can't beat me up.
Yeah, we can't.
More importantly, teaching them to be a gentleman, but not be a pushover.
Exactly. Yeah, like just have self-respect for yourself. Like that's the biggest problem with
Exactly.
dudes in relationships is they
Self-esteem.
don't know how to draw boundaries. They don't know how to say what it is they actually want. And believe it or not, those initial dynamics within a relationship are established very, very early on. So you've got to make sure that you're not, being a total simp, because if you are, you're going to condition the dynamic between you and your lady in a very literally toxic way. Like you're going to get treated that way more and more as time goes on, and you'll come to accept it. She'll come to accept it. And nobody's going to be happy, because a lady doesn't want to have to wear the pants in a relationship. She really doesn't have to. She doesn't want to have to step up and take on that role. And so she'll resent a dude who puts her in that place. And of course, the dude just feels like crap constantly. He feels like a weak man who can't think for himself, who has no agency, and is looking to her to make the decisions. What should I be? What should I want? Is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that?
Yeah, and by human nature, nobody wants to be taken advantage of. So, and that's something you got to teach. What to do in that kind of situation where it does feel like you're being taken advantage of. It feels like the person you're loving is not caring about you.
Exactly.
We got to show them how to handle that situation.
And if they're a good partner, if they're a keeper, they'll talk to you about it, that you'll come to an understanding, a compromise. Maybe you'll completely get your own way. And that's a good thing too sometimes. So
I personally think that women are pretty simple. There's only like 3 things women want, right? Sex, food, and security.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think dudes overcomplicate it big time.
Well, I think women overcomplicate it too, right? Like
I think dudes,
men are way more complicated than they are.
Yeah, I think dudes are just as simple. I mean, we already got to it. We're 2 for 2 as far as comparison. Sex, food, and shut up. Like just silence. For guys, that's it. Like just feed me, fuck me, and shut the fuck up.
And also, I think with this talk right now, I also think that's important because, we don't want to see anybody who walks around believing that they're an incel, believing that they can't. Then it's just like the way they can't get, the person they want because of, outside forces and not because of they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I agree.
I hate when people use that. I really hate when people use that incel argument. I really do.
Well, here's the thing: like anybody can really get laid if they really want to. Like, you just got to have a little bit of confidence and not act like a bitch.
Pick the right prey.
Don't be unsure.
And
unless it's Thursday night, because that's when the roles reverse. I'm only kidding.
And also understand, and also it's why important to be rejected. Why rejection is important, because it builds yourself up. Because you know what to do, it builds your character up.
Well, there's a lesson Billy Baxco needs to learn from
Clayton, apparently.
Yeah.
Billy Baxco says he wants Clayton to take advantage of him. All this talk is getting him heated.
Oh.
Wait, how do you
now's a perfect educational moment. Yeah.
See, I'm a dangerous man to be around.
Now you can reject him and teach him a lesson and build up his.
You're a wise man to be around. Sage-like advice.
Wolverine seems to disagree with me.
Oh, what?
What is he disagreeing with?
Probably that I said that women want sex, food, and security.
Women are nasty. Go ahead, Clayton.
I was gonna say, I think simps overcomplicate it. They overcomplicate the situation for the lady. At first, that's all she needs. That's all she wants. But then the dude comes along and starts giving her all these decisions to make, and then eventually the relationship becomes way more complicated than it needs to be. Fights last. And disagreements last much longer than they actually need to. They can go on for days, weeks, months, when they could be addressed in a single conversation that goes for no more than 30 minutes. And it's fixed forever.
And for God's sake, guys, do not ask a woman Do not ask a woman where to go eat, ever.
Oh hell no!
You just say, "Be ready by 6. We're going to, I don't know, the Chinese place or whatever."
That's
yeah, they
like the
love it.
biggest argument in my house is what
Yep.
we're having for dinner. Like
It's the never-ending argument. Yeah.
it's got to be.
Mhm.
Like, how can you not just make a decision of what you want to eat? Like, just say, hey, yeah, I want this.
Yeah, but some to be fair, some ladies like it's never enough when you just say something like I you want to cook, or you want to order out. Let's order out. What do you want? You want Chinese? You want pizza? I'll take pizza. Which pizza place you want to order from? Shut the fuck up and just order the pizza already. I said pizza. You pick the fucking pizzeria. I don't care.
See, that's
Exactly.
arousing. That's what your outrage is arousing. That's why they push you to the limit, Dark Gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Billy says
Yeah.
them Bartons, all alphas.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's
Thank you,
times
Billy.
where I can be like, you know, like a little indecisive. Where like she'll be like, "Do you want to order something?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever you want. I don't care." Because sometimes I'm just like, I'm not hungry yet, so it's like, don't ask me what I want because I really don't know what I want. But if you're gonna order food now, you know, just order what you want. Whatever comes, I'll eat. You know what I mean? Like that's it. That's on me for not being ready to eat. Like,
Exactly.
You know what? And you know what? And you know what? Slipstick has a point because I've heard those weird stuff of like girls who who have a career and stuff, but they try to find somebody who it matches their like career level. Who is
Mhm.
making that much money as they do.
You know, that's a bit of a
Who
fallacy.
don't
actually.
want to. Yeah. Right.
No, it is because a woman actually, like, if you go up to a woman and you tell her how much money you earn, it has very minimal impact. They don't really give a shit. And
Exactly.
if they do give a shit, they're probably not the kind of woman you want to have stick around.
Mhm.
So you don't have to be earning a ton of money. You've just got to be on a mission. You've got to have some
Exactly.
level of ambition. I think
You have a
that's the most
drive.
attractive quality a man can have. And as long as she has faith in you, as long as she believes in you, which by the way, it's your job to cultivate, then you're gonna be all good. The rest is just smooth
Mhm.
talking and charm, baby.
Confidence.
Everything's gonna fall in place.
You
Essentially.
don't really want to end up in a position, though, I believe, this is just my personal opinion, where
Mhm.
your lady is providing for you, possibly even your family, and you're kind of, you're swimming around and you don't really know what direction you're headed in. You don't want to be provided for
Exactly.
necessarily by your lady. You should at least
No,
be able
no,
to
no.
look after yourself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because otherwise, yeah, she
Yeah.
starts resenting that shit. She gets pissed off. She's like, "What? Why am I here?
And
Pulling
not
my
doing
weight."
nothing.
for what I've learned, that's definitely a huge turn on.
Have
It's a
yourself
major
figured
turn
out.
on.
Like
Yeah.
if you tell your lady, if you convince her, hey, honey, listen, I'm going to need you to look after us for a little while here while I go ahead and build my future empire, and she can see that that's what you're doing, then that's okay. If you're working your ass off and there is promise in you as the seeked out specimen that you promised to be, then you'll be all good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly true. I mean, sometimes there's girls who say they're down for that, but then they're really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's
You
all
get rid
liars.
of them.
Right.
Yeah, like and to say, and not in a malicious way either. Like they might think they are, but then
Oh
they
no, not at
realize
all.
that they might realize as time goes on that they're not. Like being in the playing music and stuff. That was always the thing. It's like, listen, I play music for a living. Like I'm not Rockefeller over here. I'm not but I'm doing what this, that, and the other thing. And most girls are like, no, I get it. It's cool. It's cool. And then like there'd be times where like, yeah, I couldn't afford to like take her out to eat, and she'd want to go out to eat, and next thing you know, she's like, well, I'll pay, and I'm like, well, all right, that's on you, and then but then like it gets to the point where we're getting into a fight, and it's like, and all the times I spend money on, it's like, oh Jesus, here we go, and it's like
Yeah.
and you find out that it's been eaten out of the whole time. It's like, well, listen, sweetheart, you knew going in that like the whole quote unquote starving artist thing, you know, like
Mhm.
if that's not good for you, then maybe this should just end right now. You know
That's
what I
when
mean?
you-
Like,
That's when you're with someone you're not supposed to be with. Because here's the thing: they know what the deal is when they decide to get in a relationship with you, when they marry you. You know, if you were going to be a comic book artist and make comic books, and that's your passion, that's your love, she can't remain with you under the condition that you become a dentist or a doctor and, you know, rake in all of this money. It's going to take some
Right.
time to build that comic book empire.
right.
You know, it's funny. Like, I have a confession for you guys. I don't even have my full license. I've had my learner's license for like since I was 16. So like for
Mhm.
it's
You talking
expired now.
about a driver's license?
Okay.
I don't have a driver's license, and you know what? I used to get hit up about this all the time, and I think that one of the greatest lessons everybody can learn from that is to decide on what your own reality is going to be. Because in my opinion, I just tell people, listen, I don't like driving in cars because my life expectancy significantly goes down as soon as I get into one. And especially these days, you've got Uber, right?
Mhm.
So I'll order you a car if you want to go on a date with me. I'll come pick you up in the Uber. It'll be fantastic. We'll go there, we'll come back, and guess what? We can both get smashed, baby. How awesome is that, right? Boom, like reframing a negative, turning it into something
Into a
positive,
positive.
desired. And I also, just at the cherry on top, I'd say, listen, these self-driving cars, these self-driving electric cars, they're not far away. Soon they're going to be smarter than the average human being, and they're going to be safer to be in, which means these, you know, manual drivers are going to be phased out. Eventually, I can see a time where human drivers simply aren't allowed on the road. It'll be against the law, and it'll be automatic cars that never get into accidents that make driving as safe as it could possibly be. So that's only 5 years away. There's no point in me getting my license now.
Hey man, I
I
haven't.
hate that. I hate that, to be honest, and I guess I'm just speaking from purist. So I do hate that. That's gonna what's gonna
Yeah, if
lead
it's going
to.
faster than I can run, I'd rather be in control of it.
Mhm.
True that shit.
See, Lola knows what I'm talking about.
But also, I used to know a guy who, like, he lived miserly as fuck. He was like crazy. What's the word? Frugal. And like
Mhm.
when he did go out, he drove like a beater when he drove. It was like a '76 freaking Oldsmobile 2-door. That was its primary color was rust, and it was secondary was Bondo. And whenever he was going to go out on a date, though, he had shitloads of money saved up. He'd just go rent a car.
That's awesome.
He'd like rent a nice, Dodge Stratus or something like that, and
Yeah,
take the chick out and go back home. Oh, whose car is that? Oh, that's my roommate's. He's out of town for the week.
that's awesome. What a great idea.
You are not
That's a
alone.
good
There are
idea.
people in the chat that don't have licenses.
So you just need someone to step out, take the lead there to feel like it's okay. And it
Hey
is
man,
okay, everybody. It is
I
okay. You can
I
be
haven't
an
been
adult and not
I
have a
have
license.
I haven't been able to drive since I was 23, 24. So I haven't driven in almost 20 years.
And we wonder
I
why
can't
there are
drive.
so many bad female drivers on the road.
You can and think about this: you can make out with your date in the back of the Uber, the luxury Uber, if you're willing to splash around some money. It's just fantastic.
But that's
Take
it.
a
You got to
limo.
splash around the money for it, Clayton. A lot of people don't have the money.
Yeah, but
I
Ubers don't
say
cost that much.
you just take a limo.
Just make her drive.
There you go.
Yeah, have one of your boys as a chauffeur.
Well, that's a great idea too.
Then he could join in.
See, I
Okay,
think
okay, that's when the chauffeur becomes a third wheel. I don't know.
Nah, man. It's more fun for her.
if you want to be rich, if you want to be a celebrity, you got to start acting like one. Celebrities and rich people don't drive themselves around.
Wait. So you
Right.
say you fake it till you make it?
That's
Hell
it.
yeah. At least at first, until it assimilates into your being.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Pretend. In other words,
that's what we used to do.
Pretend you have groupies. You know.
We used to, like literally, like yeah, we would just get a limo, and me and my
I,
boys would just go out and
I don't fake it. I just make it.
Hell yeah, man.
act,
Well,
act like you got like a ton of money.
I know
You,
some people like disagree with that too. It's like, just be real
right.
and stuff. But what if you suck? What if your real state of being is a genuine douchebag, a loser, uh, it's someone who can't communicate properly? You got to fake it till you make it sometimes in order to
Sometimes.
ascend to the next level, to realize what you actually are, what your potential really is, what you're capable of.
Well, sometimes it's also called just plain old confidence. Like if you're faking it until you make it, you kind of have some confidence in yourself that you're gonna make it, and that's attractive in itself.
Totally, exactly. And you're exposing yourself to those uncomfortable situations that you might never have attempted to be in once upon
Exactly.
a time. But now, you're getting that exposure therapy happening. You never used to walk up to any girls, and so you were a nervous little frail worm. The worm from Rick and Morty, that was you once upon a time. But then, you know what? You go up to one girl, the next girl, 20 girls, 100 girls, 1,000 girls later. It's like nothing, man. You've experienced a ton of rejections at that point. It makes things exciting.
Yeah.
One
It
will
doesn't.
eventually say yes, right?
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
Why I believe
tons of
it.
them
Yeah,
say
that's
yes.
why. That's why I agree. That's why I believe it's important that we learn about being rejected. We need to experience being rejected. I think that's very
Totally.
important.
Yeah.
Corey,
Find out this one as I find out. Okay, she's probably not the one for me. It's probably not the one. You just keep trying. And you find.
Clayton Corey says Uber driver isn't going to make the car safe.
Well, I meant like self-driving Ubers that don't have a human driver. Computers. Because computers are getting faster than our own brains. They can calculate shit way faster than a human can calculate things. And they're probably, you can't really focus on more than like 3 or 4 things at once. So you can imagine a computer-driven car would be taking in all sorts of things, like the distance that it is from the car in front of it, the distance that it is from the car in back of it, the distance from the cars at the side, how fast it's going.
Look at
I'm all
Tesla.
for it, man.
Look at Teslas.
And not everybody can, and not everybody's gonna have that, Steve Urkel, Laura Winslow kind of relationship where it's just rejection after rejection after rejection until finally, it breaks down. It's not gonna happen to everybody. Sometimes it's just rejection. It's just like she's just not it for you.
Well, you learn. You got to pay attention
You
too.
learn.
If you're
You gotta
being
learn to pay
rejected,
attention.
How
ask
about if
yourself.
she's rejecting you, you just move on to the next one?
Yeah, move on to the
Exactly.
next one.
But try to
There's
take note.
plenty of them out there. There's plenty of fish in the sea, right?
There
Oh
is.
yeah.
There is. And man, you'll be surprised how open some ladies are. I remember like the height of my pickup artistry. Literally, this was the interaction. I see a hot babe coming in my direction. I hold out my hand to pull her in. She comes in. We make out.
And
We didn't even
and
speak any
sometimes
word. It was crazy.
and sometimes and then sometimes you may want to read the signs when you spend enough time with a girl or guy and you find out that they start getting into you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Gotta read
Ideally,
those
you
signs.
want them to be more into you than you are into them.
Mm-hmm.
Billy says that Clayton is a robot sympathizer.
I actually, like, as What About said, I don't trust myself behind the wheel of a car because I'm just a human being. Like, I can't. Sometimes I forget things. I bump into walls just when I'm walking.
Well, here's the thing also, like I said, I cannot drive. So to me, an electric car, a self-driving car, that's like a dream.
Hell
I get
yeah.
my freedom back.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
I
These people are
just
just haters.
I can't
Yeah, no,
go with it. I'm
get that.
sorry.
I get
I'm
that.
sorry.
I get that for Jason, of like for someone who's not allowed to drive because of like a
Because I'm
physical
blind.
ailment. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was just like any physical, like like you got, they like thankfully, like for some people, like they like someone loses their leg, they have like these extension things that they can, you know what I mean, like
And
that
they
they
have to leave
do,
it with you.
or they have the cars that like the gas pedal is like a lever, you know what I mean, so people could drive with their hands or whatever. But still, it's like if they didn't have to worry about all that and they can just like get a self-driving car, I get that, you know what I mean.
What
Any
if the
kind
damn
of
thing
physical
that.
ailment,
malfunctions
yeah.
and locks you
It's just
inside?
Well,
where I
right,
come from
right.
is
I mean,
where I come from is just that I understand that as humans we're not perfect, we're gonna make mistakes, but I would rather be in control of
yeah, I think
something
Jason
when
would
it
rather be
happens.
in
I would
control
prefer
too,
control.
but I
Yeah.
think like
Yeah, I
I feel
can't.
much more I feel much more safer being in control of a vehicle versus letting it be completely automated. I
You're
just
not in
feel
control of everybody else driving around you, though.
I don't trust
Yeah,
anyone else
exactly.
to drive, but I don't trust myself to drive either. I'm like the worst driver I know.
see,
I'm
but at
the
least you would
slowest, and
know
I'm
it,
fine with
and
that.
you can admit it. I hate like people who suck at driving but won't admit it.
No, dude, like I literally was pulling out of a Kroger parking lot and they had this huge like electric box that had these concrete poles around it and it was raining and like there was people turning in and I was trying to turn right to turn out and I scraped my vehicle down the side of that pole.
like I dated this one girl. Whenever she would drive, like if my car was in the shop getting an oil change or something, and she had to drive me to go get it or whatever, I hated it. I hated when she would have to drive because she was horrible. She basically, I'm sitting shotgun and I got like you got the oh shit handle above the door window. I got my one hand holding that. I got the other hand holding the armrest and like by like or the side of the seat on my left hand. Every time like she's about to like hit the car in front of us because she likes to like fly up and just jam on the brakes. I'm doing the fake brake pump, like it was this whole like thing and like. I always just thought that she just knew she was a shitty driver because how did you not notice me freaking out in the passenger seat like a moron?
Like
And then I remember
holding up signs so the other passenger, like the other cars, can be like, "Oh,
I got to say, help me. And I remember we're having a conversation once, and like we were out to dinner with a couple of friends and stuff, and I'm just eating. And she's talking, and she's like, "And I'm a really good driver." And I literally spit my food out of my mouth, and I was like, "What did you just say?"
I listen. I know from experience, some people, and especially being in California, some people aren't meant to be behind the wheel. Some people don't deserve to be behind the wheel. So,
And but it was funny that was a very big argument on the way home that night.
Who was
She's
driving?
like, you don't think I'm a well, I was driving. She was like, you don't think I'm driving? I'm a good driver, and I'm like, I thought you knew you weren't. She's like, I'm a good driver. I'm like, you're crazy. I was like, I don't even know how you got. I had a couple of drinks in me, and at one point she was going on and on and on, and I was like, listen, can we just stop this? And finally, like, I just snapped, and I was like, listen, I don't know whose dick you sucked to get that license, but. That didn't make it any better. That didn't make it any better.
that's why she didn't push you out of the car."
I was driving. She would have died if she did.
Hey,
Meaning she would have been the
that
only one in the
doesn't stop
car
someone.
and wrecked it
I'd be
again.
like, you get out of this. I'd be like, you get out of this car, but I ain't stopping.
Oh man.
I was together with my first wife for 4 years, and in 4 years, she wrecked 4 cars.
Oh jeez.
Damn.
Whoa.
She sounds like me. Like
I have another friend like that. Like, she wrecked every car she's ever driven.
I was literally like 4 months into my marriage, and my husband had a Cadillac Eldorado. It was a 2002. They just built the transmission in it, and 4 months in, I wreck it, total it out.
Boy.
Oh boy.
My mom's 66. She's a good driver. 66, just got into her very first accident.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, your mum is a good driver.
Yeah. You know my only issue with her. The only the only issue I would have with her driving is she's not a confident driver. So like if we were going into New York, I would drive because she would just like get panicky driving through Manhattan or something like that. But other than that, driving around like regularly in the suburbs here and stuff like that, yeah, she's fine. She's a little slow, but hey, I guess that's why she's never been in an accident.
My mom is like the worst driver. Like next to me. Like that's probably why I'm such a bad driver. One night she got like 9 tickets.
Whoa.
One cop, 9 tickets. Not
Were,
kidding.
were, any,
Single night.
were any of them the same ticket? Because they shouldn't have done that.
No.
Okay.
She got a ticket because she was speeding. She had the headlight out, like her blinker was out, or she didn't use a blinker. She rolled through a stop. I mean, it was like a whole list, like a whole laundry list of shit that she did that was wrong that night.
Well, some of those things aren't necessarily her driving skills, but it makes her a bad car owner. Like if she's got like no blinker and no headlights, maybe change a bulb or something.
Yeah, no, right?
Oh man.
Like she is like the poster child for female driver.
Yeah. Look, there's some pretty crazy male drivers too, though, that think they're in a race car, and I've had those experiences. I haven't had many of them because I'm never really in cars, but yeah, some of them. To be fair,
Amanda
this was
B
when I was
feels
a
like
kid.
she needs to stand up for some women here. Only 1 accident, only 1 ticket.
No.
Same here. I only got 2 accidents and 1 ticket.
Is Amanda B my mom?
I don't.
Go Amanda B.
It's like exactly my mom's driving history: 1 ticket and 1 accident.
So Amanda B is only 17
if
years
she's your
old,
mom,
right?
you got a hot mom. So
Is Amanda B hot?
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I've never seen Amanda B.
she's hot.
I've seen her in the chats, but
she's right there.
She's right there. She's hot.
I know. I mean,
So only 1 accident and only 1 ticket, so she's only 17, right?
Dude, my first accident, I was.
Oh, that's a keeper.
I had my license for 2 weeks when I got into my first accident, but it wasn't my fault. But that'll wake you up as a new driver.
Okay, let me flip this over.
Did you finish your One Piece there, marketing?
No. No, I'm still working. I need to sketch the background, so I'm thinking of a temple. But yeah, still put things together. But yeah, I did do the full body shot. This is like she's wearing sneakers, which I seem to have an obsession with lately.
They make you go fast.
Yeah, fast. Keep that
I
right.
finished.
Here we go.
Yeah.
This is why she's only had 1 accident, 1 ticket, because she's really a 42-year-old
That's
now.
amazing.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Right?
Slipstick sounds like he's dated women that I used to date.
Of course, Amanda B's 42. We're all 42-year-olds. All of us.
I'm not.
42-year-old white men. We all are.
We all
No, I'm not.
We're all
Come
42-year-olds.
on. One of
No,
us.
I'm not.
One of us. One
I am a
of us.
31-year-old black man, but I am not.
Give it time. Give it time.
No, marketing, like,
What are the traits of being a 42-year-old white man?
I don't know. Ask Mormonism.
Yeah, you're into comic books. That's
That's it.
that
Yeah, that's it.
You have to be a 42-year-old white man to be in the comics. Yeah.
see, Frog G's even chanting one of us in the chat now.
Oh, come on, Frog G, come on now.
One of us.
If it makes you feel any better, marketing, I'm a 13-year-old boy, so.
Yep.
I knew it.
Mike Murphy says he's 1 week away from 40. That doesn't matter, Mike. You're a 42-year-old white man.
I'm very confused
That's
right
just
now.
it.
Corey Barton says we're all old.
So were you.
Corey's
Yes,
like the
I-
youngest person
I
in
am
comics.
old.
You're only as old as you feel, though.
I think
will
No,
Dean
Corey.
he's
is.
not. That's Dean. Yeah, Dean's got a bedtime.
He has to ask his mom if he can
Dude.
go on YouTube.
Seriously, I was watching his stream earlier, and he went to go click on a video and said, "This is age restricted."
Was Dean?
He
Aw.
He couldn't watch a video.
How
I was
how
like-
how old is Corey?
Oh, Corey?
Yeah.
He's like 4 years younger than me, so he would be
Math is
he would
hard.
be like 28 now. Yeah.
Ah, he is a
Wow.
youngin'. Wow.
They
Oh
grow up
shit,
so
Bancroft's
fast.
in the chat.
Oh, Bancroft's the oldest for sure.
NTM.
Oh man,
is-
Corey and
Is
Bancroft in the same chat.
Is
Uh-oh.
Bancroft older than me? I don't think
No, I'm
Bancroft's
just
older than
joking.
me.
No, Bancroft's not that old. I think he's a 42-year-old white man.
Oh yeah, Anthony's only a couple years older than me.
I'm
Mike Murphy
probably
says
the
he's Elliot
oldest
Page.
on the chat right now because I
Oh,
think
wow.
Jay's a couple years younger than me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm 40. I'm actually 42. Which is funny.
How old are you, Clayton?
I'm
He's
31.
32. Oh, 32.
Like, I know I'm a year older than Jason.
I'm still a spring chicken, but
You
you
are,
know,
man.
the older I get, the better I feel. I love so much more being this age than when I was, in my
You know
early
what?
20s.
Yeah, man. Early 30s is a fun age.
Yeah,
Hell
I
yeah,
said the
man.
same thing.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to your mid 40s. It's not as fun.
Yeah, wait till the warranties expire, pal.
You'll be fine.
Nah,
Oh,
I'm gonna
scary.
get back in shape, man.
Woodrow
Yeah,
says
in,
Woodrow says we all grow old down here.
in comic skate, I'm like 90, so
Yeah, but just keep in good health and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Bancroft says he'll be
Yeah,
old enough
that's-
to be
that's what I'm trying
CG
to
in
do.
a couple years.
Oh, okay. So Bancroft's younger than me. I'm very immature for my
Wait,
age.
I'm older than Bancroft? What the fuck?
If I
I
had
knew
to
he-
guess how old he is, I would say
I would say
This is so
35.
weird. It's just
38.
like
What's that, Mac?
I guess I want to ask you guys is that this is a question I want to ask you because I was listening to Eric July earlier this morning at one of his streams, and he brought up that like you have like a pro who is like looking for work, but had a golden opportunity and turned it down because people in CG were supporting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see
Oh,
that.
I saw
quite a bit.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
I can't I'm sorry, I can't fathom. Just like
Because-
really?
Yeah, they go by the wiki definition of CG, so they're all like
Yeah, exactly.
anything we support then is definitely not good. So yeah.
Yeah, we're part of the white supremacists and all that alt-right, whatever the hell, according to Wikipedia, yeah.
See, that's why you're a 42-year-old white man, McKinney. You can't. You're not gonna escape it.
Yeah.
I'm not even see.
It is
Well,
that
yeah,
by
and the thing
default.
is, I'm not even like I don't
Right.
even consider myself as part of CG, but I support so many people within
No,
it.
that's
Though
fine.
I do.
That's just your
Right.
white privilege. Yeah,
That's your white
shut up.
privilege talking.
No, yeah,
And,
you don't have to support CG though. But if you hang out with CG, you're automatically CG to some people. It's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people will label you whether you are or aren't, whether
Right.
you have a problem
Like-
with it or not. They don't care. Like if you
Yeah.
have friends within the community,
That's it,
then
you're in.
and you're cool with people within the community, then they're gonna look at you like a pariah almost.
Which is
Mm.
funny
Okay.
because that's bass backwards. Because in CG, we really don't care. We don't care if you want to make cool comics. Fine, come on in, have fun. We don't care about anything else.
Look,
They all
this-
care about who you hang out with, who you know, what it is,
Mhm.
and everything
Right,
like
you're just being on the stream right now with all of us. Would just
Yeah.
be people be like, "See, you're CG. You're hanging out with a bunch of CGers."
And
Blah, blah, blah,
you know
blah,
the
blah.
funny thing is that I used it back in 2017, back before it all started. It was I just felt uncomfortable, listening to the YouTubers like EVS, like your boy Zach and such back then. But as time went on, and the Last Jedi happened, and that was something I was like, I don't care. I'm happy to. I was happy to be a part of TFM, and I still support so many people within there, and I still will happily wear that just because it that mattered to me, because I was just like, listen, it's
Yeah,
just
man.
I guess it's just that your personal thing
Right.
comes first.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you take out the labels, if you take out CG and Phantom Menace, if you take those words away, you would still be hanging out with us.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just a label, and so since that label has any kind of negative connotation to anyone, it's automatically inherently evil, even though it's
And
totally completely not.
and the thing is that being a part of the communities, it's it has done it has been a very positive. It's had a very positive impact on me. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that's how I
Yeah,
looked at it. I guess
that's cool.
We're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all encouraging. Like we all want to have everybody else succeed. We want you to strive and do better. I mean, everybody I've ever met, they've all had good intentions about helping me out. Even if it's like, hey, you need to fix that leg. You know what I mean? It's a good intention. It doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Everybody's been so supportive. I mean, I've been in this since like what, late or 2020, I would say, or January 2020, we'll just say that.
Mhm.
So it's awesome, man. It's a great place, but they're great people, is what it is. It doesn't matter if
Yeah,
there's.
exactly.
It doesn't matter what their label is. They're wonderful people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I was just reading Mike Murphy's comment where he says a friend I lost over joining CG literally told me, "What if you bring white supremacy to our friendship?" Which I
What?
agree with Michael. That's crazy. Someone would
Just
say that.
imagine saying that out loud. Yeah.
What?
But I didn't I don't have like a situation as extreme. I didn't lose my friend, but I have my friend who I grew up who actually like really got me into collecting comics, and we grew up reading comics and collecting together and all that stuff. He kind of stayed with it when I kind of dropped off, and he never really. I don't think he ever really like paid attention much to the politics of it all. Like he just read what he liked, and he was
And
always like
that's
that though, you know.
and
But
that's
it
where I
was
was. I was like, sorry, go ahead.
he
Sorry.
was and he was just like when I kind of popped back into around, like I would ask him stuff over the years, and he'd keep me abreast of what's going on, and then when I kind of got back into it and like got into Comicsgate, I was talking to him about it, and when I mentioned it, he actually had heard of it, but of course he heard of it in the negative way. And when he realized that, like, when I explained it to him and it was me, like, then he kind of realized, like, okay, maybe it's not all, but he still didn't want to get involved in any culture war stuff. He just wanted to talk. And he's got, like, a pretty, I won't say it because I don't want to, throw him under the bus, but
No, 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 not at
he's
all.
got, like, a pretty decent comic book podcast that people listen to.
Hmm.
So, like, what you call it, like when I share stuff on Facebook, because he's not on Twitter, but when I share stuff on Facebook, like I got to share it. Like I can't tag him in something. I just share it like
Right.
privately, so this way it doesn't
Sure,
show up.
different.
Because because I gotta like I don't want to get him like yeah I don't want to put the CG cooties on him, and it
It's-
sucks.
and
You know
that-
what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing
Because
with me is that I follow so many people. I follow so many people here, but I try to stay as far away as possible from any internal drama that goes on because I don't want to ever have to feel like I'm in a position where I have to pick sides.
yeah, well, I mean,
Where I
it
just
just
want-
sucks. Yeah, well, it sucks because I feel like like I'm like hiding. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I wouldn't do it for anybody else but him. He's like one of my oldest friends. I've known him for like going on almost not 40 years, but maybe like over 30 years. I know him like over 30 years.
Absolutely.
And it sucks for him because he'd like to like I got the campaign going. He would like to share it and promote it and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
if he does, then then it's like, oh, you're promoting a Comicsgate book, blah blah blah. It's like, what are you gonna
We
do?
have a lot of people who have lost friends, even family, like even
Mhm.
family
What?
members who have found out about Comicsgate. Like, yeah,
Well,
there's
not just
people in
well,
Comicsgate who have had family members who have disowned them because they were Comicsgate.
Yeah, it's so
well, and
weird.
not just that, just like identity politics in general.
Yeah,
Politics in general. Yeah.
If I had a friend that said, "Are you going to bring white supremacy to our friendship?" I would, and they were an actual friend, I would have to laugh at my friend.
Yeah, I would laugh in their face.
Yeah.
And
I would think it
I
was
would
say,
think they were
"Are you
joking at
serious?"
first. Yeah.
Are you freaking serious right now? Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I've always
crazy.
been like, I personally, like, my personal motto is I don't give a shit like what your sexuality is. I don't care like what you identify as. I don't care about skin color. I don't care about gender. Like, if you're a genuinely good person and you're trying to do something good, like, why can't I be your friend? You know what I mean?
Why can't we be
Exactly.
friends?
You're even like embracing the furries.
Exactly, yeah. You're becoming one
Clayton,
with the
I
furry,
wouldn't go that
Lola.
far.
You're becoming one with the furry.
No.
You and the furry are one.
No.
20%.
Furries are the only ones I don't embrace.
Yeah.
Yet.
I can embrace a lot of other stuff. Furries
Yeah.
There would be
were
for sure furries in Comicsgate, I reckon. For sure. Someone out there.
My
dressed-
yeah, none
Person.
but respect for furries. It's just there's like specific people in like the furry, or just like specific people in the furry fandom who will attack, anime and stuff, like for like the lolicon stuff, throwing the p word out there. And that's where it's like, yeah, I completely just like disregard. I was like, yeah, you have no room to talk.
Yeah, how can you be
You
a
know what I mean?
furry and say something
Yeah,
like that?
like I've seen the art coming out of the furry community, and I never want to see the art coming out of the furry community ever again. Like,
You could say, well, you're into animals. So, I
Right.
mean, that's much better.
Mm.
I
was
don't
just
know.
seeing the story earlier about a kid who killed his parents because he couldn't fuck a horse.
what?
Oh,
What?
Lola,
yes,
where was that article at?
Yeah, where is that at? Why are you just now bringing this up, Michael?
Well, no, it's like this like friggin' 13-year-old brony who like was
Yeah.
like seriously into My Little Pony and shit. The yellow one, and because he couldn't have her in real
Applejack,
life, he like went nuts and killed his parents.
And on
Yeah,
that note,
it's-
Mike Murphy says good night.
Well, and it goes into the whole, and I'm guilty of this, and I am very guilty of this, of painting an entire fandom on just a few bad eggs, and
Yeah, but
And
furries
that's one
are
of the
just weird to
cases
me,
that-
Makani. Furries are
Right.
just weird to me. I'm still
Well,
trying to figure out how they don't have heat
I can't
stroke.
say too much. I can't say too much more because I used to do furry art. I used to do My Little Pony art as well. So
I'll probably do it. It makes a lot of money.
It makes
But
a
the
lot of
FedEx
money,
shooter
yeah.
was My Little Pony obsessed too.
I drew a
Who?
skeletal My Little Pony. Does that count?
Billy said furries pay top dollar for commissions, or so he's
Mhm.
heard.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's true. That's absolutely true. They
It's
pay
a
a
great
lot.
thing.
Like the DeviantArt crowd that'll pay for that kind of stuff. Shit, yeah, they do pay a lot.
That's where I get. Yeah, that's kind of where I got my start. That's where I got started.
All right, I'm gonna stop making Poser and start drawing furry. like no one's business.
Clayton is becoming a furry. Confirmed.
Go where the money is.
Right
Go where
here.
the money is.
No, I'm taking advantage of the furries.
Yeah. He's not.
No, no.
You're becoming
No,
the furry.
he's becoming a
drawing for them.
furry.
No, he's
I'm
He's
gonna
drawing
take
for
my own
them.
drug.
He's not taking advantage, and he's not becoming. He is just enabling the furries to enjoy their pastime.
Yeah,
He's aiding the furries.
I'm helping.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
understand,
helping.
Clayton. You got to find out how they keep cool inside those suits.
Right
gotta
for when you wear one. Right.
Well, and it really depends on the kind of the spectrum of the furry stuff. Because like when I did like the furry art, like all my girls were as close to humanoid as possible, close to having human eyes as possible. It's
There's a
just
line, isn't there?
added ears and tail. Like mostly it would be actual cat girls, like actually have cat noses and such. Just
Like, yeah, if you just did a cat if you sexualized a cat, that would be weird. But
Chitara.
that's a cat woman.
That's a Catwoman.
yeah.
Does anybody remember that the very first episode of Thundercats, they were actually naked?
The whole episode, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Billy says, "I'm just glad no one has noticed. No one has noticed. I've yet to draw any humans yet while working in CG."
I love Billy.
We've noticed.
See, everybody comes out the woodwork. All the people that don't have a license, all the furry artists. You gotta make a comfortable, free environment for people to express themselves. That's what Comicsgate's all about, baby.
Yeah, right?
And just don't really, and
Preach
really
it,
just
Clayton,
don't,
preach it.
and really ultimately just don't go after other people, and just do your own thing, and just be respectful to one another.
People should be allowed to
Don't
be
try
who
to
they
take
are,
other stuff,
right?
and don't try to cancel or ruin or destroy the people's lives just because they associate with the group.
Like, the thing is, people should be allowed to be who they are without, worry that they're going to be, like, outed or whatever. Like, we should all be able to come together and have fun and have conversation. And it not be about, oh, well, this person dresses up as a tiger and runs around and humps trees. Like, if they do that, fine. If that's what gets them off, whatever. Like, I don't need to know that. Like,
Yeah, just
I'm glad you said that
just
because
be
I wanted to
respect-
tell you about my
just
crippling
be-
addiction.
for what?
My crippling addiction to My Little Pony. I'm glad you mentioned that this is a no judgment zone because now I can finally be free to say it.
Just be respect. Just show respect to one another.
Yes. Like we should all be able to come together and have these conversations and it be okay.
I think people take themselves too seriously. Like, if you were a furry, you would have to not take yourself too seriously if you were in CG, because people would try to make fun of you. They would joke around with you, and you'd have to be like, yeah, I dress as a dog, and occasionally I hump trees. And what can I say? Guilty as charged.
Yeah, you have
You're
to
not
own
wrong.
it. You know what I mean? You have to own it.
Jason's
Exactly.
visualizing that live stream right now.
Yeah, like if it was me, I'd be like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's not trees, it's fire hydrants. Something like that. You got to joke back. Yeah.
Sugar Chris says he feels like Clayton is trying to start an orgy or a cult now.
I'll buy in.
man.
What's the dues?
That's funny. I don't even know how you came to that conclusion. At what point did I sound like I was doing such a thing?
I thought we
It's
were
funny
already.
how often that is said
One
about me.
of
though.
us.
Yeah.
One of us.
I thought we were already in a
One
cult.
of us.
Well, what about also says Clayton has the voice of a cult leader I would like to follow. XBM 2.0.
That is funny.
Welcome to
Man.
Clayton
Thank
Town.
you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, Billy knows what's up. He says, let your freak flag fly.
I can tell Billy's a bit of a freak. In a good way.
I'm a genetic freak, so hey.
Super freak. Super freak.
I think
Super
people just get
freak,
too
eh?
hung up on stuff. Like I said, I make fun of furries and stuff, but if somebody
deserve
wants
it.
to do that, as long as I don't know about it, we're good.
Well, you'll be a furry when you get to 1,000 episodes.
It's just my thing is that it's fine. It's just as long as you don't attack me or don't, at least you still show respect to me, and and I'll show respect to you. Just treat others the way you want to be treated.
Like, that's supposed to be the human thing to do, right? But in this whole current culture of everything, people don't know how to do that no more. I honestly
shut
think,
other stuff down. That was my problem. That was my whole thing with Jerry Conway and this shit. It's good. You're just not just criticizing, manga and such, but you legitimately either want to take control of that, dictate what other people want to draw us up, or you want to take that down. And I have a serious problem with that.
Yeah, there's a difference between criticism and condemnation.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And demonization.
Yeah, criticizing's fine, but if you're trying to act like this, moral paragon and say this shouldn't exist at all because I say so and I know what's right for the whole industry, then shut the fuck up and get out of the room because you've lost touch.
Or you're on the quote unquote right side of history or something like that.
Billy's been smoking too much pot right now.
Crack pack.
Maybe.
Well,
I want to see this.
Wait till you see his follow
Idea
up.
how excited I am for my I haven't gotten my Xenotype yet. Cosplay outfit.
Wait till you see the follow up.
What?
Isn't that just Cell from Dragon Ball Z?
It's cooler.
Guys, can you get to his?
It
Next
took me
one?
an hour to read that. I'm sorry, Anthony. Jeez, oh man.
Then he can act out the
All I know
memory
is,
like-
from the comfort of his own living room.
Mm,
Possibly with a consenting adult friend.
that's
Billy's
right.
high.
That's
It
right.
will never be consensual, Billy. It will never be consensual.
I want to know why Billy's in the chat when he could just come in here and hang out with us and tell us all this in person.
Because he's dressed as a furry.
Billy isn't in here enough. Whoa. My
Tiny humans.
Billy
Such
can't
as
my-
this
now.
my
from the
daughter's
comfort of your
talking
treehouse.
Oh, that's your kid?
Huh?
I was asking
Oh, yeah.
Clayton.
Yeah,
that
that's my kid. She's, for some reason, she's like 6 months old, and all of a sudden, you can't get her to shut up.
That's
She just
awesome,
wants to
man.
talk.
Welcome
that's
to
great.
parenthood, man.
Yeah,
He says, "Yeah, I'm high." He says, "Yeah, I'm
I
high
don't
as
know, I
fucking
think it's
coloring
great.
comics."
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to
Cute.
deal with it, so it's still cute, though.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Jay. I love kids as long as I get to leave.
Yeah. Like, I can hear it for those few minutes. It's adorable, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cute.
That part's adorable. It's when she starts screaming and crying that's not so adorable.
Yeah,
She
Lola.
doesn't do that
Once
too
again,
much.
I'm not there for that.
Billy did
Oh,
Billy
hey,
did
hey.
Billy did those awesome colors right there.
Dude, why isn't your camera on all the time with that set?
It is. Most of the time.
I have it on most of the time. Sometimes I don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's got those blacklight posts or tapestries.
I mean, if he's not wearing
Tapestries,
pants,
yeah.
he's not going to turn them on.
If you're Scottish
Yeah.
Raw, I am Mickey Mouse.
But that's a good point.
How dare he?
I
Sorry.
mean, it's one of the beauties of not having to like turn your camera on. You could be sitting there pantsless and nobody knows.
Well, you
Yeah.
can
Now
be
that
sitting
I
there
can
pantsless
see
with.
you.
What's that?
now that I can see you, I can see why you got laid a lot back in the day. You have some suave about you.
Rico.
Yeah. I'm no
Suave.
slacker in the lady department. Yeah.
I feel bad now. I feel like I don't have much of a setup, you know.
I feel like I just walked into a pickup line there. I'm just like,
Oh.
what?
A man can give another man a compliment without wanting to pick him up.
True,
Yeah.
it's 2021. It's called a bromance.
Yeah,
lots of
no,
women.
no,
Don't
Lola.
take
No,
being
current.
being confident in your sexuality enough to say, "Hey, that's a handsome gentleman over there." As
No. Lola,
cuddling with your
it's-
best friend and kissing them on their forehead. No, it's not the same thing.
Lola, it's 2021. All bromances mean they want to be gay. Exactly. It's just like when two people you can't have a bromance anymore. You can't be best friend. Two guys can't be best friends anymore.
Well, no,
Time
because they have
living
to be shipped together.
Mhm.
Together forever.
Oh, hell yeah.
The three brave
Yeah,
amigos are we.
we're less than
What up,
we're less than.
Billy?
Hey, it is Billy.
What's up,
It's
y'all?
Billy.
Sorry, I've been talking so much shit in the chat. It was
How
just,
dare you?
yeah.
I'm mad at you now.
He's
How's that
stoned.
mean?
I'm
Triggered.
Yeah.
stoned.
Now
I'm
it's
fucking
a
high
true
as shit.
stoner stream.
I'm a little
Yeah.
stony.
We're ending it now, Billy, because of you.
Right.
End it now.
Well, it's
Well,
I like just. I mean, Clayton can just go off for hours just talking about like whatever, and it's
I
like,
know.
it's pretty awesome.
He's a wise.
So-
Clayton is wise beyond his years, and people don't
Oh
realize
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think that's why
I
me and
enjoy
Clayton get
conversing
along
with-
so well, because we both can have conversations about anything. And it's just like, whatever.
Hell yeah!
I-
Thank you,
I-
everybody.
I enjoy conversation time with Clayton.
Then
So
there's
how
this
many of y'all
article.
have done this?
You should do a show
Because
like
Clayton-
that.
Straight men and bromances kiss, cuddle, and stand around naked together.
Yeah.
No.
That's not true.
What
No.
happened between me
This
and
is what-
Clayton is nothing. Don't lump it in with
What is
this.
No, this is called a gay
This-
couple.
This
These
is
are
a
homosexual.
reenactment
Yeah,
of
that's called a
Anthony
gay
and Clayton
couple.
right here.
Exactly.
Is that Risey Lee right there?
Clayton should do a show on his channel called A Conversation with Clayton.
Oh, thank you. I've literally thought about that.
It's not bad. Q&A with Clayton.
Oh
Sounds good to
Lord,
me.
Q&A with Clayton could go for like a week. That'd be like a week-long stream.
One of the benefits of being in a bromance was the ability to have cuddle with friends. Undergraduate students who took part in a study of male friendships have said.
This planet is so
This isn't
screwed
true.
up.
That's not a
So
bromance.
when you and Chris John were going to that art school,
No, that's this right here. This is them saying. This is them half coming out as saying, "Yeah, I experimented in college." That's what they're basically saying.
Will
Yeah,
you move
that's
me up?
exactly what
Will
it
you
is.
move me up next to Anthony so I don't have a purple banner over my face?
Yeah.
So vain,
Come
Billy.
on.
See, that is not
Come
a
on, what
bromance.
is that?
This
Well,
is
Jim
a
Cox
big
started a
romance.
game that says take a shot every time Billy Basco smiles, so I made sure to grimace. Don't put Anthony down there now. Jeez.
That's okay. I'm under Lola now, so I feel fine.
Lola.
Well, I'm under
And no,
Derek,
me
yeah.
and
I'm
me and
under
Krista,
Anthony. Okay.
me and Christopher John did not cuddle in
How
art
about
school.
this?
He's a burly dude. I don't see why not. I can't read it.
He wasn't
We just
trying
have
to
a
be
Cuddled
full
with a
screen.
bromance partner? What the fuck does that?
29 of 30 men who took part said they cuddled with their romantic partner. This latest
Never
report
done
also
that.
facts
No,
Yes,
I
a
don't believe
2012
this.
study.
I'm sorry.
That's
A
science.
2012 study
30?
finds that 89% of 145 surveyed undergraduate heterosexual men
I'm sorry.
kissed on the lips.
You can't
Oh.
argue
Truth or
with
dare doesn't count.
Jim
That's
Cox
not-
is
Guys
gonna take a
nowadays in
shot
my
every time Billy
generation.
Basco smiles.
Listen.
That's
There's so much kissing between guys because it's just showing affection. I hug him and kiss my bromance and tell him I love him.
It's because you're
Oh my
gay.
God.
They're gay.
There's nothing wrong with it. Just come out and say you're a
There's
homosexual.
nothing
It's
wrong
fine.
with it, but
It's okay to be gay.
That's
just
science.
don't call
It's
it
okay
a
to be
bro.
gay.
There's,
That's
No,
science.
no, there's
It's okay to
nothing
be a
wrong with it.
homosexual. You don't have to pretend that you're in a bromance. Just say you're a
Yeah,
homosexual. It's
yeah.
fine.
Don't call it a bromance. Don't.
Whoa.
treat us like
This
we're
guy's
a
doing it in
bromance.
front of
There's a
more than
difference.
one. Whoa, go back up. Go back up.
Oh, yeah. We walk around. Yeah, he's got two roommates.
We
Yeah,
walk
all
around
walk
naked. I
around.
got no. Yeah, they're basically just one big orgy house.
I got no problem standing naked
Yeah,
in a
it's
room
just-
with my housemates.
They live in a bathhouse.
like-
That's what they.
See, like
Are they
this
Turkish?
is like this is really dishonest.
Yeah.
They
They were enrolled in one of
but it's
four
really
undergraduate
dishonest.
Oh
fourth
yeah.
degree
Yeah.
programs.
It's what they're describing is it's like it's like a fan it's a fetish fantasy that like
It sounds like a
they-
shipper. It sounds
yeah,
like a
they-
straight up shipper.
yeah, it's like fanfic shit, you know, it's like
Yeah, they're trying to quantify shipping. Yeah, that's what it is. They're trying to come
Yeah.
up with like actual statistics for this shit.
I mean, are you all gonna sit here and say that you've never like watched porn with like a bro or something, or
but not
I've
what
no-
we I mean it's
I don't watch porn
you
with
just
other guys.
you
no.
make sure that you're back to
No.
back and you don't make eye contact and then it's okay. But I mean we didn't
Yeah.
cuddle. Like that's a
If you're
totally
either,
different
if you're either closed,
oh,
it
cuddling
doesn't
was
matter.
too far.
Nope.
Like I
Um,
said,
Alright, listen,
back to back,
I've-
no eye
I've-
contact.
I've watched porn with a buddy, but we didn't like whip it out and jerk off to it. We were just watching it.
Fuck. I could have been sitting here playing with me click.
Yeah.
Or so Michael Bancroft has experienced. Like you don't want to like walk in on people watching porn. That's
But
that's an uncomfortable situation.
there's a difference between watching porn,
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
like,
like maybe I
cuddling and
watch porn.
kissing.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, and okay, yeah, I know I've been in the room with other dudes watching porn, but that was like I think it was like pre-8. It was like pre-high, like high school shit.
Yeah, it's like
Was it an undergraduate
Yeah,
Because,
program?
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
because-
well, because it's like
like-
it was an access like thing at that point. You know, it was like, well, who has like access to a VCR?
Who has
that
the
we can
porn?
play
Yeah.
and the porn?
Like, here's the thing.
Like, I come from an era where it was like, well,
Call
who
me.
physically has this pornographic material, and like, in what location can said pornographic material be consumed? You know, so it was like it was like,
There used
yeah,
to be
you,
something
you
called
had to watch it
VHS
because it was a
tapes.
logistics thing, for real.
No,
Yeah.
like call me old fashioned, but
No.
like if I'm gonna have to watch porn with anybody else, I'd rather watch it with my significant other.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah. You have to understand, when you're like 14 years old, 15 years old, and like someone goes, dude, I found my dad's porn stash.
Yeah,
And,
but I mean,
and then mom and dad are at work, and you have like an hour from after school to
Or
run
even
over to your
more-
buddy's
yeah.
house
or
and
even
just
more
pop it
lowbrow.
in.
Like that's
Yeah.
even more highbrow. Like I'm thinking, like, you know, the first time someone was just like, "Oh, dude, I got the like Girls Gone Wild DVD. Let's
Oh
play
God, I
it."
remember those. Oh, God,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
All right.
those.
And then like you start playing it, and then people just start like filtering in your house that you live in. You're like, "Oh, hey, what are you watching? Girls Gone
I'm
Wild."
like, you know,
Restart it. Like, all right, let's just restart it from the
you know,
beginning.
that's-
Next thing you
know
know,
what?
you're like
You know,
5
you say-
restarts into Girls Gone Wild, and there's like 7 people on the couch, like watching this. Like,
Dude, I bought
You know, I
like
find it funny.
I bought like the first like 7 or 8 Girls Gone Wild DVDs. I still have them.
You know what I find it funny is like it's like because we were talking about this like last night with like stunt, you know, penises and such, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think even in the age that we are in, I don't think Girls Gone Wild would be able to exist in or would be able to last
oh, it's so
in
tame.
this.
Oh, it's so like
Well, it's not so
incredibly,
tame. It's just like in
inoffensive.
this
Yeah.
like this era
It's
of like
objectifying
in this-
women, so it wouldn't happen.
yeah, and like this era of like like Me Too and such. I was like, Girls Gone Wild would.
Are you
would
kidding me? No,
exist.
Girls Gone Wild. We'd have to like it'd be behind a paywall. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Always, yeah.
Do you want to see me go wild? Then you have to sub to my channel.
No, you would literally still have to buy the DVDs.
Sub's Gone Wild.
You would, you would literally still have to buy the DVDs nowadays. It'd be like black market shit. It'd be like,
I know, right?
you
Well,
wouldn't
no,
have to
if
get
you have
it.
the internet, you can just
I
download it,
remember.
right?
See. I remember staying up late just so I could see those
I was like-
commercials.
I
That and
was
like
like
the Playboy
25.
commercials.
I was like 25 when Girls Gone Wild came out. I was not 30. Jeez.
Yeah, I always
Yeah,
think
I
you're
would-
like 22, Billy. Or you have that energy about you that you're.
I'm
I
a
think
real
Billy's-
boy.
Billy, you're my age, right?
I don't know. How old are you?
I'm
How old are you,
40
Billy?
Are you?
I'm-
Anthony?
I'm 45.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Yeah,
Wait,
he's
who's 45?
dark
Billy.
kid.
45.
Oh,
What?
And Billy is 63.
No,
63.
Billy. If Billy's older, he's not that much older. We
He
had
watches-
this conversation.
He watches that.
I turned 63.
He watches that one lady
Billy,
pour water on her shirt.
Billy, your hat's dope, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
So is Billy really that Toya chick I talked about earlier that's been making like
Yeah, he
What?
that's that. No, he's her husband.
Who's Toya? Wait, what? What's going on?
She's 63 and wears wet T-shirts and sings weird cover songs.
Okay,
Is she hot?
okay, I'm gonna call it a night, but I need to share this. I want to share this to you guys.
Mm.
I want to see how you guys reveal it. So you guys know that the CW is
Crap.
rebooting the Powerpuff Girls, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
Did you see that there's a leak? Did you see that there's a leaked script of it?
oh yeah, and the script's horrible.
Oh yeah,
It's so
yeah, it's
atrocious. I'm
terrible.
like, I need to cover this. Like I.
but that's
so
like
bad.
CW. Like, why do they care? Like, I
Yeah,
heard
but
that they
it's
were
like-
going to
it's-
rewrite it or
it's-
something. I'm like, but that's just CW. Like, that's just
I'm like, it's
what you
worse.
put out is crap.
Yeah, but it's like it's worse than. It sounds like it's gonna be worse than like Batwoman. Like
I don't know. That's not possible.
okay,
Nice
Oh,
let's
man.
read it. Let's
Oh,
read
I
it.
don't
Good night,
Lipstick.
Slipstick.
Can you share my screen, Lola, please?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, this is from the first week. This is from Upper Echelon, so shout out to him. Bubbles, look, we love Powerpuff Girls, but sometimes we want to be other things too. Like in Dirty Dancing, Baby wanted to join the Peace Corps, but she also wanted to be a fancy slut, and her dad didn't get it. Drake, emotional. Jerry Orbach was doing his best to understand. Intro to Powerpuff Girls' home, hallway Buttercup's room. Hey, Blossom heads upstairs to where the bumping sound continues from Buttercup's room, then abruptly stops. Blossom opens the door and finds Buttercup in bed with Macy, this woman she eyed at the bar the night before. They just finished.
What?
Blossom. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's fine. To me,
What
Is
the
this
heck
true?
is he
Is this
doing
the
to
real
our
script?
girls?
Is
Yes.
this the real script?
No,
Yeah,
yes,
I
it
mean,
goes this one.
that's the internet, man. Like, something,
It's just
I mean,
because like Blossom, aren't we here to investigate?
No,
also-
this is the
Buttercup?
one that
I'm
they
here-
leaked.
it also
hold
says
on,
that.
hold on.
Right. I mean, the internet also says
Aren't
I'm
we-
part of a hate group. Like, so.
Yeah, it's like aren't we here to investigate? Are we here to investigate Buttercup? I'm here to pick up bi-curious townies. You're here to avoid Drake. Bubble's here to investigate, but she forgot. Butch hates her. Luckily, we're dealing with another hate voter, so alcohol helps. Why do you guys know so much
This
about
doesn't
hate voters?
surprise me.
Like this
Yeah.
one big hate.
I don't think
Yeah.
alcohol helps with boners at all,
This
right?
could be a leaked script that like was one of the
It's so bad.
rejected scripts. I mean, to say that this is the final script, it could be a draft. You know, a draft.
Yes,
But it
the
does
final
sound like a
script, because,
CW
like,
script.
okay,
It
so
does.
I was talking this for Brett Steven. It was like there was like
Is
one
this
part of the
lo-
script
is-
where they're using a bunch of references like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook,
Is
like
this
Spy.com or
is this
something
going to
like
be
that.
live
Like,
action? Is this going to
Yes.
be live action?
Yeah, it's the Powerpuff
Uh,
Girls is live action. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my
But-
god, this is gonna be awful.
I'm so glad
they're
I don't
trying
have to watch
make
it.
them growner up.
Yes.
Oh, I
Well,
really.
there was the other thing that they were supposed to be like still 6, and I'm like, excuse me.
I really hope this is real, and I watch Heels versus Babyface cover it.
I know.
I
I
bet he
asked
will.
my
He
team.
will.
That'll be
I asked my
glorious.
team over. I asked my team over at Rogue Entertainment if we were okay if we could cover this on tomorrow's TR4 because Jesus Christ, what the hell is this?
What's a
Oh,
TR4?
That's what they leaked out, and a lot of people have
Rogue
been really
Squadron. That's
upset
my
about
team,
it.
Rogue Squadron.
Oh, right on.
Maybe it's a marketing ploy.
it could be.
It could
I'm
be.
like, this is. I'm like, is this worse than? Oh, so you could download the whole script.
I would
It
almost
was
watch
leaked on
that.
Reset Era. Oh my
But
god!
I mean, are we really surprised? Because I mean, we've seen what else they've put into everything else. So
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by it.
We've seen
Me
Batwoman.
neither.
We've seen Batwoman and how much.
Clayton, I heard rumors today that Kentaro's assistants might be wanting to finish off like Berserk because
Finish
they
off
have all
Berserk?
they have all his notes and shit.
Oh, I hope so.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Like,
It'd be really amazing. if
You know,
they
it's a
do it
funny
right.
thing. It's a funny thing that. It's a funny
well, I mean,
thing
if
that,
he
you
has
know,
it
I
all
was talking
mapped out, you know, like I mean, I would think that's legit because, like, you know, the Japanese are very, you know, honor bound to something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that they would want to put something out unless like his assistants really
Well,
felt like it
here's the
was
thing.
like his true vision, you know.
Right, Billy. And well, my thing was
I
because
mean,
I
like
talked
people
about
work
this
for
on
companies
Saturday.
for like their whole lives, like when you know, like their culture for like you know work and being loyal to a business and shit to a fault, like is completely different than ours. I mean, like
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah, and
people once they're treated good there, I mean, they stick with people for their entire lifetime, you know.
yeah, but that's the thing is that you know with Kintaro, you know he's spent most of his life, you know, literally dying working on this, and
Yeah.
and then I was talking about this on Saturday's Rogue Entertainment stream that you know it leads to the dilemma is like if we were put in that position, would we want our stuff to we have somebody else to finish what we create, or
Yeah, well, I mean,
no, oh, wait, or we leave it unfinished.
no, like see, because one of my favorite
Because I
books.
do feel-
One of my favorite books one of my favorite book series had to be finished by another writer that was super
Yeah,
close
but-
to the author, and when he died, he got to finish the books, and that's the Wheel of Time series. And I'm very glad that Brian Sanderson
but
like
the
was
thing
able to
is-
finish that series.
Right, and my thing is that sometimes my thing is that you know there's a good argument for why stuff can be left unfinished if the creator passes away because it creates a bigger legacy. It creates a bigger, you know, it creates a bigger legacy.
it were up to
Much
Clayton,
more
they would
good.
build a robot version of him to finish the fucking manga.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I would imitate his style very well. On that note, I would love
I
to
don't-
talk about Berserk for much longer. We'll do a stream on it, all right, Billy?
Yeah.
For now, I've got to go to dinner.
All right,
So,
All right, later,
I'm
man.
gonna go to bed. I'm
What
gonna
up,
go to bed.
Enjoy your dinner, Clayton.
Thank-
Thanks for
Good
coming
night, Clayton.
on.
Thanks for having
Good
me,
night,
Lola.
Bikini.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you.
Matinee.
Catch you next
Thank you,
time.
Lola.
Bye.
Check you all later.
Bye.
All right, what's up, guys? Have a good night.
Later, man.
Thanks,
Good night,
Magani.
Boop, ba-doop, boop.
And we're down to 5.
Soon to be 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I gotta get to bed too. It's gonna be 4
Oh,
o'clock in
shit.
the morning over here.
So then
You know
soon
what?
to be
Since
3.
everybody's leaving and heading to bed, I guess we should just call it here, huh?
Call it here.
Tell everybody.
Ooh,
Here's a doodle.
nice.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
There's a
Hold on.
doodle.
What?
No, it's too late. I'm closing. I'm at. Oh, there's a doodle.
She's hot.
Thanks. I even busted out a Copics for it. See?
Nice.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
bet she's a good time.
Yes, Jason, we can.
See it?
She's a good time.
She's a good time.
Good time. Let the good times roll.
With my friends.
All
Is
right,
it a
guys.
Golden Gay time?
I know that night. No, we're gonna call it a night. Everybody in the chat, thanks for coming out and hanging out. Everybody on the
Thank you,
panel,
chat.
thank
Hail
you
the chat.
guys.
Hail
Good
the
night,
chat.
Hail the
everybody.
panel.
Appreciate you guys
Hail
every
the
night.
panel.
Yep. You too, Lola.
Back indie comics.
Back indie
Hail the
comics.
chat.
Back,
Hail the
Absolute
chat.
2. Back.
Dude.
Billy, what are you working on?
Charlie's London and other stuff.
Picking up Inkspot slack,
Look
huh?
for Billy. Just look for Billy's name and back it. I don't care what he's doing. Just back him.
He
If
did
he's
that.
like running around
So
in
back
furry
hunting
suits.
Yeah. Oh,
Alice.
yeah. Well, I was. Yeah. It was. We hadn't gotten to your square yet. Back hunting Alice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through. Back
Michael
hunting
T-
Alice.
Michael T, do
Over
you have
here,
anything in
Mr.
demand right
Yep.
now?
Oh no, but when it gets here, back Inferno.
Okay.
There you go. Back these guys. Go sub to their channels. These guys are doing great things. Like, I appreciate everyone coming out and just supporting. Like, that's what we need to be doing, is supporting each other, lifting each other, and making things, better.
And
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to Lola.
We are the alternative here.
Back to
Yeah.
So, back in support.
Bag it. Smack it up.
Much